Hello, everyone. We are so excited for this episode because sentiment about the LCS has officially turned. There's been like two threads talking about how great LCS is recently, and then like two threads talking about how LEC sucks. So, in the constant tug of war on which region fans are going to shit on or love, we finally pulled, and now the flag that's in the middle of the rope is on our side. That's how tug of war works, right, Cubby?
It's the pendulum. We either hate EU or we hate NA, and there's no in between. And it's one side or the other. And right now, sitting pretty.
We are sitting pretty. I want to give a big shout out to today's sponsors, this episode's sponsors, NZXT and Kia, both fantastic partners. And stay tuned later this episode for an announcement. It's going to be fun. All right. Cubby, how you been? I was out of town this weekend in Tacoma. I was playing hooky from the LCS, but how was your time in LA? What did I miss?
Good for you. I didn't do too much. I was bummed. There's a little tradition that I like to hold with some of the other Challengers League casters where we go to LCS to support when others get a chance to be on the show. So that was Steve. I wasn't able to go attend because the LCS was in a different venue, part of the studio. I ended up watching from home, and I wasn't on NACL this week, so I did a lot of consuming League of Legends and then a little bit of streaming League of Legends afterwards. As I've gone through the LCS VOD reviews, and the games there were like two stinker series this week, Raz.
Yeah.
And like I think the games overall were okay, but it's pretty clear that TL outclassed Shopify, and Dig actually beat up a little bit more on 100 Thieves than I thought, but C9 also outclassed IMT. So it was tough. Yeah.
It was like 3, and this is kind of like the downside.
Wait, I haven't introduced Raz yet. And we got special guest Raz on the show. Okay, now continue.
Thank you. Like, this is kind of the downside of the best of threes is like you always want the exciting matches, but sometimes you'll have to watch 2 to 3 games of like either C9 versus IMT, TL versus Shopify Rebellion. I was actually excited for NRG being able to pick up a win, but if that turned into anything. So yeah, that'll happen. So it is what it is.
How was
pray that the next games will be better.
How was the broom closet?
Nice and comfortable. A little dark.
Yeah.
I feel a little bit like Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Before I got adopted by Hagrid.
Yeah, who's Hagrid in this scenario? Who's gonna show up and is CB Lol? Congratulations.
Oh, no.
Congratulations. Here's a letter to join the Americas League. Please join up.
Mark, basically. Mark just needs a bigger belly, a big beard, and then basically saying, you know what, you guys are back on.
Well, he did his Willy Wonka impression this weekend.
That's true. I actually told myself I'd steal that getup, and then I just didn't, so I lied.
Yeah. Was that it was just sitting there ready to be stolen?
Yeah, I think so. I'm pretty sure. Like, I mean, do you think Mark owns that? You know Mark's wardrobe? His entire closet is basically what you expect.
Free esports T-shirts and jerseys.
Literally.
Yeah.
Like, he wears nothing else. It's actually crazy. So for sure he didn't own that. It's somewhere in the wardrobe room, and I just need to find it.
Yeah.
But Travis, you're lucky that I'm here. Because there's a Game 7 between the Florida Panthers and the Edmonton Oilers. And even though I hate the Edmonton Oilers, they're a Canadian team, and I want them to win. So I have that in one monitor.
It's not looking good for you right now.
It's not, sadly. It isn't.
Yeah.
The other monitor is Raw, WWE, because that's also happening. So I have literally 2 things taking my attention. So if I don't listen to a viewer's point, I apologize in advance.
You're moving so emphatically back and forth from the microphone that people will understand that you're switching between all these different viewing experiences. Also, I thought basketball was over.
That's hockey. NHL. Okay. I was genuinely pissed for a second there. I'm more happy for a friend of mine. There's a high school friend that I've had problems with since he's randomly an Edmonton Oilers fan while living in Calgary, but now he actually has a reason. I have a reason to support him in this case. So.
No, fantastic. Well, I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear both of you are vibing. I had a really great time in Tacoma this past weekend at Command Fest. Thanks to everybody who came up and said hi. There was a lovely couple that came up from Portland who said that I had gotten them back into Magic because they'd been listening to Hotline League, and they came up just to to play a little bit and say hi. And they were wearing the TGI Worlds Tour shirt, which I thought was awesome to see. So really loved seeing them. Also missed out, unfortunately, and I do want to give a shout out to Ewok, because Ewok was there from Discord, was there in person, and we did not get a chance to play a Commander game because they were there only for the day, unfortunately, and so I missed them. But had a really great time, but did miss LCS, but also, there's not a lot of space in that closet, so I didn't want to be next to a mop, and figured I'd just, catch the games as I could. So
you could have been closer to me.
That's true. You and I just in. Never mind. I'm not gonna finish.
I will say,
not the right month for those kind of suggestions. Anyway, Cubby, what were you gonna say?
Next February.
Obviously, Travis is making a Scientology joke. Anyway, I will say that with at least like where the LCS was, like this past week, I know that you mentioned a couple of the positive threads, and one was definitely about the interviews that the teams like gave and they got out of people, like by kind of talking to them in the moment.
Yeah, I saw the Dignitas stuff. That was awesome.
Yeah, so I do want to give credit to the team. I know it's not the ideal scenario, but I appreciate how they're at least viewing that as an opportunity to I feel like catching players like very in the moment. You got some different emotions, and I think people really felt that tuning in. So that was a big positive for me.
It's funny because the same thing happened last split when they were doing the closet stage. Mm-hmm. And it's just something, I guess, about that space that lends itself to more casual, fun interviews. I think maybe it feels less formal when they're not on the big stage in front of an audience or whatever. Not to say that that's a superior experience, but I guess it is one of the unforeseen upsides of doing stuff in the more intimate setting, I guess we can say.
Yeah.
So,
and we're already in talks about being able to get the raw reaction out of players in the moment, so I think it can improve when we get back on stage again.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be the same intimate experience of like being able to get the full team, because now we're, it's a in-venue experience, so we're kind of doing it with the audience. So I would say look into this next week coming up, see how that goes.
Yeah. I'm excited to see how things go. And just a reminder, everyone, as we do this episode, we're only a couple days away from the next LCS matches. Not because we're doing the show late, but because LCS is going to be... They're doing the 2023 throwback this week. They said you all missed the 2023 vibes, and so we are doing Thursday, Friday LCS matches this week. So that will be... If you want to catch LCS before it disappears for, I think, is it 3 or 4 weeks?
Not this year again. Not this. You better have that discussion with Mark, all right?
There's 3 weekends where there won't be LCS, which I believe means that it's a 4-week break.
I don't know about that one, but I won't be the one that debates you on this one. Mark, get his ass.
If you would like to watch the LCS before it returns if you'd like to watch the LCS summer split before it returns in the fall, make sure to tune in this Thursday and Friday for League of Legends out of North America. But yeah, so that'll be fun.
Says it's 2 weeks.
What'd you say?
Paula says it's 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, in the Twitch chat, yes.
Yeah. I will say Saturday, Sunday we have NACL too, so you can get a full spread of League of Legends. We take the superior time.
Yes, or they can increase the viewership of those VODs by 10% if they go watch them, according to some YouTube statistics I saw on Reddit today.
We don't optimize for YouTube. Who would have thought?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was okay. So what were all the big stuff this past week? We had, first off, the venue and location announcement for semifinals. We are traveling all the way to Inglewood, which, if you're not familiar with, is a area in Los Angeles. That's where the finals are going to be. So yeah, it's going to be at YouTube Theater. They announced it'll be there. I think somebody said something like 6,000 seats. So it is.
What do they do there?
Shows.
I mean,
I went.
Wasn't Kendrick just in that venue?
Oh, was he? Was that the venue?
No, it's got to have been bigger than that, right?
I don't think it's that venue.
No, it's not that venue. It's not that venue.
Is he the guy that was beefing with the other guy?
Yes, Travis.
Okay.
Well done. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm hip to my pop culture references.
Oh, he was at the forum. My bad. He was at the forum.
Okay.
No. So the first time I've been there maybe only once, but I went there for Ludwig did a show that was out of there. That was like a trivia, or it was like the Jeopardy show that he was doing. So that was kind of fun. It's a cool, nice venue. It's like very new, but I know obviously that a lot of people are very unhappy that there are only 2 finals this year for LCS. Also, the last year where we'll have LCS finals seemingly, and that both of them are in Los Angeles, and that one of them was in the LCS studio.
Yeah.
This one is going to be not too far away, so if you don't live in Southern California, it's pretty rough to get to this. I will say that I am fine with them doing a West Coast show because we've definitely done a lot of East Coast hits recently, and even before COVID, there was some like Midwest stuff and all that. So it's fine, but I do agree that Los Angeles is not ideal. It would have been cool for them to do something like Vegas or I don't know, Seattle or something. So it's kind of unfortunate that this is what's happening, and also unfortunate that it's, I think we're going from like 20,000 person arenas to 6,000, and certainly we were not selling out the 20,000 ones, but I do agree that 6,000 is tough.
I personally did not like the football stadiums that we were in because like I don't think we were ever going to be able to fill a football arena to begin with. And I think in general, audio carries really poorly in stadiums like that. So I actually think that going a little smaller is better. But that being said, I mean, if we're going east, would have loved Toronto. Just anywhere in Canada, I would appreciate it. I know that. Yeah, that's about it. But yeah. I agree.
We might take one venue call, so I'll say.
Yeah, we can have somebody call in. I mean, I do think it's a pretty relevant topic. Yes.
Yeah.
We did have, obviously, as we were just discussing, the second week of LCS. So I know a lot of excitement from that, but also maybe some conversations about what's going on there. I do feel like the standings right now have kind of gone about the way that people expected. I guess I don't know.
Surprises.
It's tough because like whatever you only have one match a week, you look at the standings and you're like, oh, these are closer than we thought, and then you realize it's because 4 teams are tied at third because there's only been 2 matches, and you're like, okay, well, I guess that's where we're at. But
I think people just need to focus more on the game score. I mean, because it's so hard. It's so, especially when we go on break, it's going to be really weird looking at the series score and being like, we just took a break and it's 3-0 or 1-2. Like it doesn't feel satisfying, but at least looking at the game score tells a pretty clearer picture. And I would say the biggest surprise probably, not for me, because I think this lines up a little bit with my predictions, but Dignitas is probably the biggest one that had the largest variance from rumors about their dog shit scrims into the community being, and myself, we were pretty positive because of just like, hey, they're veteran players. It'd be really weird for them to shit the bed. But they've been doing well.
I think the biggest surprise for me is actually NRG, but that's on the opposite end of the spectrum, right?
Yeah.
Because in terms, like, I thought I had that team ranked pretty low in my power rankings, like I had, but they're playing like a bottom 2, bottom 3 team in the league right now, and 4 out of those 5 players hoisted the trophy less than a year ago. So that's been a weird one to watch for me. I hope that they can turn it around. So
So on the topic though of like, hey, you got to look at the score or the game line or whatever. It is. They've been asking for feedback because apparently they're updating it, but lolesports.com does not reflect the game score. It just shoves the match score in. And you have to go find the graphic that gets put out with the standings, and that graphic, there's a lot of graphics on that graphic, I guess is the best way I would say. He would saw like a Reddit thread recently where some graphic designer like redesigned it. So I think it's maybe a little bit better this past week than it was previously, but not to sit here and spend a lot of time on graphics or whatever, but I just think it is something where I think Riot needs to figure out a great way to effectively communicate the strength of the teams in the league. And I think right now between LoleSports.com and some of the interesting ways that they're representing this stuff on social media, it is a little bit more difficult to showcase that. But I do like the game score.
They're even doing that for the LPL schedule. Yeah, that just needs to improve. That doesn't look good at all.
Yeah. Some people saying that the LoL Esports homepage now has spoilers. So, quite frankly, it's probably more information than it had previously. It's just the wrong information. All right. So we have that. Anything else that I'm forgetting that came out this past week, or any news? Cubby, Raz, or YouTube or Twitch chat? Would love to see if there's anything I'm forgetting that was like a big storyline. Other than that, I think we're getting into that time of the split where we get to talk about, okay, how do these teams actually look, especially going into the third week, and then we've got the 7-week break afterwards. So we'll have to see how things go. But yeah, Cubby, do you want to do the spiel on how calls work? And then I think we have time for an announcement.
Yeah. So if you guys want to call in, drop your take in the Discord. In order to find the Discord, you can go to discord.gg/Travis or command Discord in either YouTube or Twitch chat, whatever platform you prefer watching on. Join, introduce yourself, hit yes to the rules after you read them, and then drop your take at me, at Cubby. And if it's good, I'll pull you in the waiting room. Then I'll go check on you, make sure your mic's all right, and we'll drag you in and you can talk with us and give your take. So, yeah, we've had some fun ones in the last couple of weeks. So, yeah, looking forward to hopefully more fun ones tonight.
Yeah. And I do want to say that if you are a sub on YouTube, a sub on Twitch or a member on YouTube, man, I wish that had the same nomenclature. It's great if you link your Discord with your YouTube and Twitch accounts so that you can get access to the Subtopics channel, which moves a little slower than the Pleb Topics channel. And also we try to pull from both of those chats, so gives you a little bit of a better chance of getting on the show. No guarantees though. And we'd love to have you call in and give your take. It's going to be a fun episode. So looking forward to that. I do actually think we can take our first call looking at the time, Cubby, before we get into exciting announcements. So
I got only 2 pulled, so we're looking for more takes.
Yeah, please give us your takes, folks. I know there's a lot to talk about. I see a lot of people in both Pleb Topics and Subtopics putting those in, so we'll be able to grab those here in a second. But first off, thank you to a bunch of people. Just a Gyro gifted 20 subs, which is just crazy right as the show is starting. And then Raz returned the love by giving Just a Gyro a sub. Hershey Crisp, thanks for the 8 months. Big Angry Hobo gifted a sub to Raz. So it's really just, they're all forming a circle there. Stenius, thank you. Dark Tarkanis, thanks for the 19 months. Power Surge, Panic Pronix, Moonfish, and then over on YouTube, want to give a big shout out to Starloft for becoming a member and King Manchi for the 5 gifted memberships. That's pretty swell. So thanks everybody there. Getting into our first call of the night, we have our caller here. Caller, what's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Jacob Escalera. I'm calling from Gilbert, Arizona.
From Arizona, what do you want to talk about on the show?
Hey, so my take is the LCS needs more villains in the league. It is great for content.
Really? Do you feel like we're lacking in villains this split?
So I think this split specifically is everyone's starting to get on board with it. Now, not that we're lacking per se, but in previous splits we were extremely lacking. Like, for example, this is the most trash talk Jensen has ever done on live broadcast. They just came out with the LCS video with Jensen and Inspired, and they're both flaming each other. It seemed a little personal when they were both flaming each other, and rightfully so. But that's just kind of my thoughts on it. Like me personally, I'm a big APA hater. Oh my gosh, I hate that guy.
Wait, why do you hate APA?
So I hate APA because I genuinely think he is trash. Just because his champion pool is so small. If you look at the way he plays and the champions that he plays, it's only about 5 champions, and it's not a whole lot of variety. It's just really bad in my opinion.
Okay, so only 5 champions, not a lot of variety. So it's just his champ pool that you take issue with?
Champ pool, and his team is often carrying him. And because he has a target on his back, everyone just tries to focus him. And his trash talk just doesn't live up to the hype most of the time, personally. Gotcha.
Okay, so but is he in your mind a villain of the LCS?
Oh hell yeah! Everyone is gunning for him, in my opinion.
But so you hate him, but deep down you appreciate him, right?
He loves to hate him.
You love to
Yes,
hate him, you
it's
appreciate that, don't you?
it hurts me so. It hurts me so.
So by this metric, he could be like you're LeBron.
In some way, shape, or form, yes.
Okay.
That was the guy that was beefing with the person?
No, don't worry about it. Anyway, I do think that, like, there's something to be said for just having feelings about people in the league. I feel like why people are relating with villains is because it at least gives you some way to like emotionally connect with someone, whether it's positive or negative. Like it's really fun rooting for the villain. I mean, like, are you gonna tell me that like you don't want Draymond Green on your team if you're a Warriors fan? I'm sorry for all the sports references, Travis, but like everyone in the league hates that guy. But if you're a Warriors fan, you kind of love having that guy on your team. If we're gonna be honest, like I appreciate how I feel like this split with what the LCS is doing and what players are putting out there. I think the biggest issue that the LCS has had, and like the biggest complaint, just comes down to like how much people connect with the players. And I really feel like with like a lot of the directions they're taking and why people are just enjoying the league more, whether it's like changes to the format, the patch, or just like what they're showing, people just feel more connected with this batch of players. I think it just really comes down to that, plain and simple. And having feelings about like positive and negative feelings about teams is good for the league. You want people to be fans, and there are a lot of different ways to be fans. So if you don't like APA but you respect the fact that he's in the league, that's fine. I can live with that.
Well, I think what's cool too is that we have a crop of players that are down for this. So Raz probably remembers for the last several years, for a very long time, he's up there doing interviews with the players, talking to them. I'm doing interviews outside, talking to them, and for a lot of the times, you just felt like the players were not speaking their mind. I think because they just felt like it wasn't worth it. I hear from a lot of them where it's like, oh, I just don't want to deal with the Reddit hate, or I don't want to deal with the social media stuff, or it's just like not worth it. I'll just sort of be polite and respectful, even though the moment the camera turns off, they're sitting there and they're just shit talking each other, and you're like, oh, why can't you just say this, when the camera's on? And I don't know what happened, but I guess they decided like, fuck it, let's just do it. I think it's just the crop of personalities we've gotten, and maybe one or two of them starts to do it and the rest of them follow suit. But it's been really nice.
It's two things. It's like it is the crop of players of JoJo and APA coming in and not giving a fuck. That's actually the biggest thing. Like, they don't care.
It's so fun.
Yeah. And it's the support that comes from the teams and now the league of being able to push that into the forefront. Because for a while, it's not even so much the fear of being flamed by the community as much, but also because it's a team game. Of course, other team games have a lot of shit talkers. Literally, Brazil is full of shit talkers that stand up and do stuff. And we are Valorant, all these things, right? But that being said, there's always the fear of like, oh, your teammates being uncomfortable with it, your organization trying to be as buttoned up and polished as possible, trying to get sponsors not being happy with it. Even when EG came in and they had the whole hashtag live evil initially, they're like, well, you signed a bunch of nice players. Like, you have Skizzle and Svenskeren and all that. And like, it always felt like people liked the identity of being the villain, but no one wanted to be able to dip into it. Because what that means is, yes, the idea of if you don't succeed, then you're going to get shit on by everybody and probably lose your job. That's the first one. And of course, the second one, which is actually in the first one, which is just like the hate. No one wants to take the hate. It reminds me back, this is perfect that I brought up the RNG shit, because people love the villain, or at least love being able to hate somebody. I remember in internationals in 2018, 2019, no one was willing to vote for the LPL teams versus the European teams or the NA teams. Like, I was like, fuck yeah, I'm going to vote RNG versus Fnatic, and I may have lost a few of those times, but I was always going to be the last prediction because I knew when I was in Europe during that, I think it was the 2019 run, I can't remember actually, when I was there for the 2019 run for, I want to say Worlds, yeah, make me the last prediction. I want to get booed. That reaction is something that I fucking love. The DMs may not be kind. They may be some racial epithets.
Oh, Jesus.
That shit may happen. You may get hate crimed. But at the end of the day, like, you made a great product, and it's an entertainment product. And I love now that people are willing to be open about it. It's not as natural as the past, back in 2013 and all that, when the players were more willing to stream and say whatever the fuck they want. The whole don't condescend to me drama shit that happened with Muffin Cutie and Afro and was it Wings of Death? Like, or some of the drunken tirades that happened in that curse house thing. Like all that stuff was as raw and authentic as you possibly can get. So we're never going to be able to get back to that, sadly, but at least we're finally getting it.
I think there's some part of it being
Better.
okay that a lot of that stuff is not around anymore. I do miss those times as well, but I think basically I think of it this way: we were probably a little too immature, because it's basically based off of like the age of the people, the sport, etc., the industry, and there were a lot of problems that came along with it. I think we were like, oh no, never mind, we're grown-ups now, and we started wearing suits and ties to work, and you'd ask a player, oh, I respect all my opponents, I think they're all fantastic, and I'm just excited to play the game. And now we're getting to a point where I think people are finding the balance.
Yeah, actually wanted to mention this because I watch other broadcasts to take notes. I watch the Dota broadcast to take notes. I watch the Valorant broadcast.
Did you watch the MSI broadcast last year to take notes?
I do take notes. Yes, I do. But my favorite shit was watching 100 Thieves in Shanghai, the Valorant tournament, when Bustio would literally stand up. He brought a pig plushie on stage.
Yes.
And if they want a map or something or a round, he fucking stands up, picks up his pig plushie, and points it to it, calling them piggies. He literally calls them pigs. That's good shit. That's what I want. So yeah, maybe we won't get as close to that, but more shit talking is beautiful. That being said, back to the caller's point, the APA take, as wrong as it is, I love the fact that you're willing to take, because you're going to eat shit for that. APA is literally a top 3 mid laner right now in the league. He's performing really well, and the fact that he started to split off by the solo killing Quad, though Quad's not looking too good right now. And then of course, like, just playing team fights generally really well. I think he started this split off way like 10,000 times better than he did last split, and he's carrying the momentum from MSI. So he's really damn good. But hey, I love the fact that when he shits the bed, he's still willing to like talk shit. I remember he traded solo kills
with Insanity, and he's like, we both suck. That was so funny. That was so funny.
That was good.
Oh
do you guys remember when a decade ago High flipped the bird on stream to the analyst desk?
Dude, I remember all the like Crepo and Double Div shenanigans they pulled on like the Season 3 Worlds desk, man. There was so much funny shit in there.
Yeah. But no, I do appreciate.
Oh,
go ahead.
I think that some of this, like the aversion to maybe more of the immaturity of esports you were hinting at earlier, like I really think that sometimes money came in and everyone kind of got like, oh shit, guys, money's in. Like these VCs, they come from sports and they have cable TV, and we definitely, don't think that the best show on cable TV is, you 4 guys just like shooting the shit, talking basketball, and have a bunch of running jokes that people appreciate, and I feel like the players like kind of got scared. I also think that there was a big community backlash back then against players that did like chirp, like everyone just kind of hate-rated them.
Yep.
And it was when social media was like, I guess everyone started to figure out that like, this just pushes hate. And now I feel like everyone's grown up in it, so they just don't care anymore, and they're actually just going out and willing to say their shit. And I appreciate how in that aspect the pendulum is kind of swung to the other side, because I think it's a lot more fun when you get people speaking their mind, whether they're right or wrong. Like Matt, I mean, we've had so many interview moments that I cannot remember other interviews from the past. Like I remember Blabber crying on stage when he won after he didn't win MVPs or LCS for a couple years. I remember the COVID era Perks win because they ran out and like lifted a trophy.
Yeah.
And I remember like APA's debut game where they walked him up to the booth right afterwards and gave an interview. I remember more interviews this year than I do in the past, and some of it's recency bias, but some of it's like you've gotten some really good moments out of these guys on broadcast. I feel like that's being a little bit prioritized more now, which has been good.
Dude, Jan getting out of his shell when the finals win and just like saying these guys are so fucking annoying.
I can hear my laugh from the studio, like when he said that in the VOD. Yeah. I could not. It's so fucking funny,
It's good. It's good stuff. And it's funny too because for like a couple of years, like people were like, yes, we want violence, we want more shit talking, we want all of this. Like I remember Portillo, Mateus going out there and saying it, and people would say it, but all you need is the first few people to really be willing to kick down the door and not give a shit. And JoJo and APA were those two people.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing is
Sven too. Shout out Sven.
Yep,
it's exactly what you're saying, Raz, because like I think one of the challenges is when somebody is the only trash talker, everybody just goes and they're like, that guy's just a jerk. I don't like them. But then whenever somebody trash talks and somebody trash talks back, and then you start to realize that like it's not just one person, everybody's kind of feeling this way. It's great. Like I actually think it's so good for Sven because Sven has always had this like banter in him. And I feel like ever since he came from Europe, he's had to like hold it in a little bit. But then, he's with Inspired and, JoJo's in the league and you've got APA yapping and all this stuff. And so I just feel like they all start to unlock each other and it starts to become a bit of like a culture moment for the league. And I don't know. I just think it's great. So I guess what I'd say is, Caller, I disagree that I think your take was that the LCS needs more villains. I don't think it needs more villains because I think the villains have arrived. Like that's where we're in our, what do the kids say? We're in our villain era. That's what they say, right? That's the whole, I'm in my villain era right now. Mm-hmm. I believe that's the phrase. So I think we're in our villain era.
Yeah, so the only reason they do need more is just to build player, just rep. Just, hey, this player can talk shit and he could still be something.
Villain arc. I've been informed by Twitch chat that it's villain arc, not villain era. Anyway, sorry, Caller. Yes, I think that's good.
Then really quick on the APA point, the only champs, and I say 5, is Triss, Ziggs, Azir, Aesol, and Corki. If you look at the past split and a half, that's literally all the man fucking plays. That is my only critique on him.
I would say, that's just really dependent on the meta and also what the team's willing to play. Because like there are some teams that are really focused on what your identity on the squad is and like how you play the game. Like just watching him play solo queue through like either just following his op.gg or just seeing what he's played before kind of shows he does have a really large pool and he's willing to play it. But the meta is just really actually right now is really boring around mid lane. It's fucking boring. You're probably just gonna see Tristana, Corki constantly with like Talia maybe. So I think right now it's more of a product of the meta, and if the meta changes a bit, I think he benefits off that. I didn't believe that last year, to be fair, last split, but I think he's really became a much better laner, and we've seen that to the fact that the grinding that he does in solo queue, like multiple different champions, is showcasing itself. So
yeah, I love Jensen, so that's probably also why too.
There it is. It's come out.
But that's great.
The craziest shit is seeing in the finals when the person that had the champion pool issues throughout all of the narrative about like the champion pool issues of APA and all this stuff was Jensen. So I love both of them, to be fair. But yes, I love that you admitted it. I'm gonna put that out there.
It's awesome. Hey, Caller, thank you so much for calling in. Anything that you want to shout out here at the end?
Yes, Travis Gafford Industries, best industries known to man.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. Thanks for the call. Really do appreciate you calling in, and it's a good vibe. I'm happy that people are welcoming sort of the new villain arc of the LCS in the villain era. Anyway, thanks so much for the call, and we'll catch you next time.
Yep. Bye.
All right. So we now get to announce something pretty cool. So, I guess I would say we had a very long break of not having partners on the show as we were trying to figure out what we were doing there and having conversations with people and all that stuff. 2 weeks ago, we announced Kia. Last week, we announced NZXT. And now, I'm excited to announce our next partner. And stick around after my ad read here because I do want to talk a little bit about it. And that partner is PrizePicks. So for those of you who are unfamiliar, PrizePicks is America's #1 fantasy app with more than 5 million members. It's a super great way to engage with your favorite esports, sports, and players. You'll just pick more or less on 2 or more player stats for a shot to win up to 100x of your cash. Make sure to try out esports before the end of this month, because for every Wednesday and Saturday in June, if your lineup doesn't win, you'll get your entry feedback. You can choose from Counter-Strike 2, Call of Duty, League of Legends, and more. So you can just go check out the site or app right now if you want to see the upcoming games. And I believe that the LCS games should be up shortly after this video or the VOD goes live and the podcast goes live, especially because I know they're playing on Thursday this week. So you can go and hit up those LCS games, but they also have LCK stuff. They have other leagues. They have other games and other sports on the app and the website. So you can go check it out. And what's really cool is that when you download the app, you can use, or you go through the website, you can use code Travis for a first deposit match of up to $100. And there's a link as well that will be in the YouTube and podcast description, as well as in the Twitch chat and YouTube chat right now, which I think Numi should be able to share there. So really excited. They're going to be in for all of the LCS summer split. And so I'm really excited to have them joining us as a partner, and it's really great to have yet another awesome partner come in to join us in the league. For this league season in the LCS summer split. So now that we've done the ad read for this, I do want to have a quick conversation about how this came to be and sort of my philosophy on it as we are going through this partnership and sort of how it's going to work. So, first off, thank you to PrizePicks for reaching out. So the way this all happened was that earlier this year, I had a friend who I play Magic the Gathering with, who has been in the esports space for a while, and that person has, I don't know, we were just playing Magic, we were hanging out, and they said that they had stayed up late last night watching LCK because they were playing PrizePicks, and I said with a friend they had like opposing more or less plays on a certain match or certain player.
You can do like one-on-ones, so it was probably one-on-one. Yeah, against a friend.
And so I was really excited about it. By the way, I just noticed we got a raid from Dash with 38 viewers. Thank you, Dash. Thanks for showing up right as I'm talking about our new partner. It's perfect timing. So this friend was talking about how he'd stayed up really late watching LCK games because he was playing PrizePicks. And at the time, I didn't know what it was. I had not heard of the brand or the company. And so I was talking to him about it. He showed me the app, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. But I just, we were playing Magic, so I didn't think much about it. And then at the beginning of this month, I think it was, we got an email about them being interested in working with me. And I was initially a little wary, to be honest, because daily fantasy is not very prevalent within the League of Legends ecosystem. It's in, I know it's very popular in other esports and like really, really popular in traditional sports. And so, but I was like, oh, like, should I do this? I didn't know too much about the company. And then I just decided I was going to do some research and try to figure out how I felt about it. And so one of the things that I learned, I'll just name a couple of different things that I learned. So one was they've partnered with Kindbridge Behavioral Health and will incur all initial costs for comprehensive support services for people who do develop issues while playing PrizePicks, which I think is pretty cool. They operate in 33 states and everywhere in Canada except for Ontario. And the company is based out of the U.S. and Georgia. So there are other companies that I've seen do stuff like this in the past, and they are not always operating out of the U.S. And it's kind of sometimes you kind of raise your eyebrow a little bit whenever you're looking at this stuff. And then the two things that also made me feel kind of cool about it was I went to go to Father's Day dinner with my family. And I asked my dad if he'd heard about it because I was considering it, and I knew he followed a lot of traditional sports, and he had not. But my sister immediately was like, "Oh, PrizePicks," and she said, "I play this because she follows women's basketball," and she said a bunch of her coworkers do too, and apparently they know that I do League of Legends stuff, and they know that League is on the app, or maybe some of them are playing the League games on the app. And they were like, "Hey, you should call your brother and get advice for us on what League of Legends picks we want to make." So I just thought that was really cool. I also, if you go back, you can find in my Discord, I asked folks in the Discord how they felt about daily fantasy and esports, and my audience seemed pretty cool on it. And also, I asked some folks in person, even at the LCS during opening week, who were familiar with my content. So I was just trying to get the vibe, and mostly people felt like, hey, this is pretty fair. So I will say that PrizePicks and myself have only signed a deal for the summer split because we both want to give this a try and see how all of you feel about it. Because if you guys don't want this, the easiest way to make sure that it does not continue, I don't mean this in any kind of weird spiteful way either. It's just like, don't sign up, don't participate, don't do this. Because I think with PrizePicks and myself, if this is something that not all of you feel excited about or that you don't feel is worthy of a partnership or not the right fit, then we won't continue with it. I do hope that folks do have a good time with it and they do enjoy it, because I think this is the type of partnership that could help get me to at least some of Worlds this year. Europe is expensive, and we don't have any general year-long partnerships. Obviously, we have NZXT with Hotline League, but we don't have, in the same way that I've had in the past, like a partnership that extends into world's coverage. So I think they could be a pretty great fit for that. But yeah, I mean, you all will decide. The other thing is, I think Numi just set a channel live in the Discord, where in my Discord, which is discord.gg/Travis, where people can talk about it, and also where if people are playing PrizePicks and it's available in their area, then they can sort of share what they want to do. And yeah, have a good time. But especially I went back and talked to that initial friend who I met, or who I was talking to over Magic, and he was saying that one of his favorite things about playing PrizePicks is that it's a cool way for him to interact with a lot of his friends who he was not hanging out with as much in the past, but also knew that they were into LCS and League of Legends, and so they kind of compare the different picks that they're making and make fun of it with each other and all that stuff. They'll put $5 on a pick or something. So I think it's pretty cool, and I'm excited to have them on board. But ultimately, I do want to hear from all of you and see if you feel like this is the right partnership. And I think they're giving me some promo stuff that I can play with. So I'll probably be trying traditional sports, and I'll be asking Cubby for advice on that.
Yeah, I'm terrible at this.
Yes.
You can't. I haven't done this since I lived in Illinois. But anyway, I will say that for PrizePicks, I cannot give league picks, especially for LCS. I will not be giving any of those picks, but I will be using PrizePicks to play for the July 4th hot dog eating contest. Nothing more American than seeing if people can go over under the amount of hot dogs proposed.
I did see that on the on the app today, so that's pretty cool. So
I'm excited for that. Yeah.
And we will be talking a little bit about some of the previous matchups and stuff like that for the LCS. But I think what Cubby's saying is that he and I won't be pitting picks on LCS matches just because of we're trying to be above board, and I think there's a lot of conversation around content creators and stuff.
I can't my contract too.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I like working for my Challenges League games.
Yes. Exactly. So we're gonna manage that, and it's kind of a new area for all of us. But yeah. Excited about it too. So thanks everybody. I'm really excited to have PrizePicks in, and excited to talk to all of you about how you feel about this. But regardless, it is time to get into the next call. I'm sorry that took a while, but I want to make sure you all heard how I was feeling about it. So Cubby, you want to go grab the next call?
Yeah.
There is no hot dog competition without Joey Chestnut, all right?
Yes, correct, Raz. That they're doing a Netflix is running a hot dog contest now just because Joey Chestnut was banned from Nathan's hot dog contest.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, I wonder what Inspired thinks about that.
Wait, what part of it?
Well, he's not doing the hot dog contest because he's sponsored by a vegan meat brand.
Oh yeah.
He's too vegan.
He's too vegan. That's true.
That is too vegan.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
That's a problem. Fair enough.
Thank you to Moonfish for the 41 months, Swede for gifting a sub to Ixbix, and then Ixbix for responding by gifting 22 subs to the channel. That is very generous of you, Ixbix. Thank you. Thank you to Zachary GG for the 21 months, Angie HZ for the tier 1, Dash for the 38 viewers, Blue Oys to Nut Guzzler 2K20, and Blue Crayon 48. Thank you all. Those glasses are great on you, Raz. I'm a big fan. All right,
I appreciate that. 2K20.
We got our next caller here. Caller, what's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Jim. I'm calling from New York City. To Big Apple. Go Mets.
Hooray.
Go Mets. All right.
I wish I was more of a baseball fan. I'm trying.
There's
I'm really
so
trying.
much sports tonight on the show. It's very funny. What do you want to talk about on the show?
If you'll give me a little bit of a spiel, my take, if you want to call it that, is that I'm an old man. I'm a 40-year-old LCS fan, and like 2 weeks ago, I was on the fence about everything that was happening, and like I think it's working now. I think it's exciting, and I guess the take is that like I think it's getting me on board for 2025. I think that I'm like finding myself getting more and more excited about like what's happening. Like just a little bit of context. I think I've been watching since like 2013. I was at the 2015, the Madison Square Garden, the summer finals, like the one that changed everything, where all the NBA people were there, and like that's where all the money came from. Like I think I'm like the target fan of the LCS. I like mostly watch LCS, but it makes me play, and then I spend money, and I like get my friends to spend money and stuff like that. But like the past 5 years have been bad. It's felt like empty. Travis, like maybe my favorite video of yours is the one where you list out all of the imports that came into the LCS. Like where you're just like, let me just read 40 names in a row that you have no attachment to. You just, every single name I'm going to read has played in the LCS in the past few years, and you're not going to care about any of them. My favorite one was CLG Crown. I loved CLG, and they had Crown, and I felt nothing about that. And like now it's working. Like I know most of the players in the LCS. I like have an identity for most of the teams, and like I don't know. I think it's getting me there. So I don't want to like talk too much uninterrupted. But like when I think about 2025 and what's happening, it's like I think maybe LCS has 6 teams worth of like legit talent, which is perfect because that's how many franchise teams we're going to have. Tactical needs a better team. Justice for Tactical. Like promotion is going to be awesome. Relegation is going to be awesome. I watched Steve's video about like the whole thing, and the thing that he said that I really liked was he was like, we don't really deserve 3 world spots, and I was like, damn it, he's right, because every worlds we have 1 team that's good and we have 2 teams that are just bullshit, and like why do we deserve to send 3 teams? And he was like, if we earn it, we'll get 3 teams. And it was like, all right, that's right. And so like I don't know, it's all coming together for me is what I was going to say. And like I've been watching for forever. And I think that I didn't realize how uninterested I was for a long time until this split and this season when I'm like back in. I'm like, oh my God, I'm into this stuff. So I don't know. It's working, and I'm excited about that.
Is there anything specifically that got you hooked back in?
So I think like I wouldn't say it was like a specific thing, but it was a specific moment when all of a sudden I was like, I know most of these players. I'm like looking at the league and I'm looking at these teams, and I can name the 5 players on frickin' Dignitas. I can name the 5 players on TL. I'm like into TL.
Who's the Dignitas support?
Isles. Come on,
Okay,
man.
okay, good. That's a good sign. That's a good sign because I know people can name 4 of them, and
That's fair. That's a fair question.
And I like Isles a lot. I think he's really cool, but I just wanted to make sure.
And again, like I had no idea who he was, but like I've seen a little bit of content. It's like, okay, he's like kind of intense, but also like he's a funny guy. I really liked Pros. Recently Pros is amazing. Really, why'd you guys wait so long to do Pros? But like, yeah,
we didn't.
Like,
I started in 2011.
And then when did you end it?
Whenever LCS started and players no longer had time for me because Riot was taking all their time.
Sounds like you need to be a better friend to those players.
That's true.
Should have been commissioner.
True.
We all know it. Anyway, sorry. Continue on.
Yeah, I don't. I know I've been monologuing for too long, but just like from someone who's 40 years old and like I have disposable income, like I'm the guy who LCS wants to hook, and like I'm doing it. I'm spending money again. Like I'm back into playing. I like bought my friends a bunch of skins, so like it's happening, and like I think maybe this is like the 2020 stuff was going to happen because the nature of, you know, the sport worldwide meant it had to happen. So like they kind of had a very small window of time to like get the LCS fans back before the shit that's about to happen is going to happen. And like, I think it's happening. I think they're doing it. And I think that's awesome. So
Okay.
I'm excited. I really am.
I love this, and I appreciate that like we have a fan that's come back, because I feel like that's all like in a lot of sports, like there are years where I care more or less about the Cubs, right? Growing up in Chicago, it just happens, and so I think it's a good sign when the sport can bring someone back. I'm glad that we have someone that has disposable income. I'm curious, start off, I have one more question for you. Have you spent any money on like esports specific gear, or is it mostly just stuff in the client and league stuff?
100% in the client.
Okay.
I've never been able to like
That's fine.
become a fan of a specific team. I don't know. Like it just, for me, regional, like I'm a fan of Miami Heat because I'm from Miami. I live in New York now, but like I'm a Miami sports fan.
Yeah.
I've never been able to become, I'm a fan of whatever LCS team can make any dent, you know, internationally. That's what I am.
Okay.
Always.
I appreciate this. I think that it's great that we find an older fan. I think the biggest thing is still finding the younger fans. Because like when it comes to, I won't give like the full marketing spiel, like having disposable income is great, but I think that with the sponsors that are fielded in esports, a lot of it's, if you get an 18-year-old, you get a customer for life because the switching cost is too high. So banks, cars, insurance, cell phones, like all these things where, you know, you sign up when you're an adult and then you get out, or like you don't leave that company. And I think that it's really key that whatever game or esport is popular finds a way to engage that demographic. And whichever esport has been most popular or like gone along with those trends, I feel like 18 to 24 is the sweet spot. Yeah.
I don't know. It's a separate conversation, but like I don't know if I agree with that. Like I've worked in like the subscription business for a long time, and this whole concept of like a customer for life, I don't think it's true. Like it's not as true as all of these people want it to be true. So like I actually am of the opinion that like if you can just find people who are into it and will spend money on it, like you can't, you're just, I'm sorry, like you get a fan who's 21 right now, the idea that like 15 years from now they're going to still be in it, it's not true. In 15 years, who the fuck knows what's going to be.
Did you buy the Ari skin? That's the only question I have.
No, Jesus Christ, no.
What?
And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why.
Kids, take lessons. Take lessons.
It's because I suck at Ari, and that's the only reason. No,
Yeah.
But I'm not against it at all. If someone wants to spend $500, then League should take their money. I know that's a separate conversation, but like that's no problem to me.
No, that's a yes man take. That's what that is.
That is.
Yep.
I saw something.
Doesn't mean my money.
I saw a comment somewhere, or maybe I was talking to somebody who said something along the lines of like, it's so uniquely American to care about how other people spend their money. And I don't know why I really like that statement. I'm not even saying it's wrong or that like people shouldn't be worried about the way that a lot of people spend their money. I just thought it was very funny because I do think that like it's so funny to me that the ban rates for Ari went up a ton in the West, and then in Korea they like slightly adjusted. You know, it's just it is very funny.
Getting mad at how people spend money is one of the most American things there is. Like,
yeah.
We've built so many industries around people like watching other people spend money and then like being enraged about it.
It's true. All right, so back to your general take. Yeah, I mean, I think the vibes are good. I'm really excited about the fact that you're feeling this way. I think for a long time there was a lot of frustration. I do get aggravated that we're still seeing, in my opinion, a little bit too much churn for players. I think some is healthy and some is needed. But we're a little bit too high on some of it. But I think the lineup of players that we have right now is just really great. And I gotta say, I kind of feel like going to 8 teams. I said it for years before it happened, and then it happened. And I know a lot of people are not happy about it. And I think a lot of people really feel like if the Americas League, or I guess when the Americas League thing happens and we have the North Conference stuff, that it should be 10 teams. But I think 8 teams has helped concentrate a lot of the storylines and focused a lot of stuff on the players, and it's been good.
I mean, if this is the hot take, I'll say it. I think 6 teams is.
Okay, that's too much. Raz looks like he's charging up for something, though. I want to hear what he says.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I don't believe in the idea that us going from like 10 teams to 8 teams to like 6 partner teams, all these things like helps. Maybe it helps in focusing, you're right, the storyline to those like a few individuals. But I think personally we have the players. Now they've kind of started moving on because they don't believe in that shit. Now I'm hearing that Stick says a pilot. I'm hearing that Revenge is now going back to med school. I'm hearing that
Chimes in law school.
There it is.
Had one.
And
He was
honestly-
our first team All-Pro, man. He played really well last split.
Yep.
That one bummed me out.
Surdy's still waiting. There's a lot of players that I still think, if we were on the right path and everything, that like we could fill that spot. Now the question is, do I think there are as many orgs that are, you know, sustainable and willing to like push players and all these things? That's, I think, the real question. But I think it was more so of how we started presenting the players, a lot more, you know, less polished, more personality. I think that helps a lot. And you're right. I think the churning of players, and making, like, being able to be better at making players stars helps a shit ton. So the churning players part, we can't really do too much other than fling shit at organizations for churning players literally every split, right?
Yeah.
I remember for a
This
while-
was the split with the least churn, by the way.
yeah.
Because I keep up with the numbers. I think it was only like 6 changes going into the split, which is crazy.
And I give Travis
And all
a
of them
ton
were
shit.
Dignitas.
That's yeah. I give Travis a ton of shit, but the one thing he was consistently right for a long period of time was the boomerang, and how every team had the same identity of like, guys, we're here to win the LCS. What's your personality? To win the LCS. Okay, what are you providing? To be good. Well, guess what? About 6 of you are going to be dog shit. That just happens. That happens.
Yeah.
It's competition. That's natural, right? But you got to be able to do something else. So I was a little concerned for a little bit when FlyQuest moved away from the eco-friendly thing. I think being able to brand it better, promote it better, these things are always going to be, you know, ways to improve yourself. But at least it was like a personality and identity. Now they got the whole, you know, European yappers, which I appreciate, because that if you're talking about being a villain, or if you're talking about like wanting people to talk, that's one way to being able to do it. And of course, like we already know about Team Liquid with APA.
But what's funny,
100
Raz,
Thieves,
is like
grinding players.
I don't feel like that's the result of the teams making decisions. It's all the players. Like I give all the players all the credit on that, because it's not, you know, like Dignitas did not become like a fan favorite overnight because of decisions that the organization made as like a brand to be like, we're not going to be all about winning, instead we're going to be about this, or we care about winning but also we care about this. It's like they just signed some really great players who were available, and thankfully those players all have really great personalities. So,
and to be fair, it's still going to take time. Like, for instance, technically they literally churned 4 players.
Yeah.
The question is whether they're going
Yeah.
to keep them going into the next split, or, you know, we'll see what happens going into Americas. We don't
Sure.
know.
Yeah.
But like, the question is whether they keep them and whether they can commit to them. Like,
or if we
that's where
keep them and commit to them.
So like 100 Thieves, FlyQuest, a lot of teams, NRG. Like, I'm not, even though NRG had a really bad spring split, I fully respect them for saying, hey, we made one change, bringing in Huhi. We won a championship last split. We want to commit to this for a full year and let this ride and have them improve. That's a respectable fucking take. And I think, and I generally think that holding on to decision and not making knee-jerk ones is a positive one. So I'm happy with that.
Energy gets a pass for the next 3 years. I'm sorry. They beat G2. Like, they can fucking be dog shit for the next 3 years, and I will support
3
them.
years is like 20 esports years. We got to calm down with that. It's like 3 years is a long time.
All right, well, someone else go out and beat G2, and then I guess, let you know. But like, man, I love Energy for what they did. Sorry, not to jump.
I respect that. I respect giving them grace. I also respect, I think it's cooler to go down with your ship than to, you know, change out the ship and still go down. But unfortunately, I think NRG's tough spring is continuing, which maybe we get a call on that later. Who knows?
But one thing you did say that I just don't agree with, and I don't agree with Steve on this one, that like we deserve less seeds. Come on, like
that's true.
this is the first time we lost in plans. The GG versus BDS series does not count. That's not plans. But this is the first time it's happened. And 3rd seed has been consistently our best seed historically.
That's okay. That's actually okay. First off, that's true, and it's because you want the Thanos Korean team or the Chinese team in your group.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're the number 1 NA team, you're losing to number 2 or number 3 LPL and LCK. You know.
Wait. Is there a Worlds that anyone can name where 2 LCS teams made like significant noise ever?
Sure,
No,
but you
but-
can't judge which team is going to do it. Which seed's going to do it. That just
Well,
comes down to each team.
okay.
And atmosphere.
Wait, there were 2.
It
Then
was
give us
easier with
10
three teams.
seeds, and then one of the 10 will do it. Like
We cut our chances by 33%.
it sucks. I hate it, but also like I can't objectively say that we deserve it because we've never had more than one team make any kind of impact at any Worlds.
Outside
One.
of season 4 now.
Yeah, season 4. I vaguely remember.
I don't.
That's
Yeah,
fair.
but I don't. Okay.
If I'm looking
We're off
across the
topic.
planet-
We're off topic, but I just need to fucking
It's
slam
still
dunk
on
on this
topic.
thing really quickly.
Let me
Like
just-
I
okay,
hate.
fine.
I hate the shit whenever people say like we've never so what Brazil deserves that spot then, caller, like, or Steve or whoever has this opinion, like we don't deserve the spot, so we have to give it to somebody else who also doesn't deserve it, or like I don't. It's so stupid when people. Sorry, it's
we
frustrating
deserve
to me.
twice as many spots as Brazil. We've been twice as good as Brazil.
Oh, we got to go earn it now.
I don't think
know
that's
how
how
to
this
do
metric
it.
works.
It's-
Otherwise, Korea would have 90% of the spots.
You know who
Yeah.
else succeeds? LEC. You know who we EMEA. But you know who we consistently kick their asses for? LEC. But
if we consistently kick LEC's ass, we'll get their spot.
No, that's not how this works.
That didn't happen. That didn't happen.
That's-
Also, I'm just gonna go out there and say too that we do kick EU's ass, and EMEA deserves a spot more than Brazil deserves a second spot. That's all I'm gonna say too.
Well, Brazil's never getting a second spot.
Well, they do now if they beat us.
They're never. Well, then if they beat us, then they deserve it. You know, like I don't know. It just
I don't know.
Yeah,
I just think it's this weird
EU
fucking
Masters
like
winner should be there.
victim.
That's what we'll say.
This weird sort of masochistic mentality for LCS fans, where we all like to fucking beat up. There are no bigger haters of the LCS teams than LCS fans, and I feel like we all love to sit here. Not all of us, a lot of people, not me, and just be like, oh, we want to self-punish our league. Like we don't deserve these spots. We should go down to 2 world spots. Just hit me, Daddy Riot. And like I just don't think it's good. I don't think it's good. I hate that mentality. All right. Anyway, caller, I am happy that you're happy about LCS, and it's very frustrating. And I am very frustrated by what you said in the second part. But I like the first part, and it's good. So, thank you.
you're very welcome.
Is there anything you want to shout out here at the end?
I guess not so much a shout out. I do have a question because I feel like no one has mentioned this. What is Mark going to be the commissioner of the North League of the North Conference? Like, what's his role going forward?
Well, if I had interviewed him, I would have asked him that, but they didn't ask him that on the dive, which was the only media they did around it. So,
That is
I
Mark,
can't,
if you're watching this, it's based on your performance this year.
I can't figure it out. Like, what's the role? Anyway, I'm dying to see that out. Anyway, but no, I really do. I love the LCS, and it has been a pleasure to talk it with you guys this evening, and I appreciate it.
no, I do appreciate your hype for the league, and I do think it is worthy of celebration that we're in a good era. We're in our bringing it back era for the LCS. Thanks, caller, for the call. We'll catch you next time.
I'm gonna message Kobe to hit you in the head.
There's been enough violence on this podcast already. All right,
Okay.
let's get into the next caller.
Yeah, my shout out is definitely tune into the video version of this stream for the last call. Anyway, yeah.
What? Thank you to Just a Gyro for gifting 20 subs. Holy moly. People are coming out in strength tonight. Thank you, Xbix, Just a Gyro. Thank you all. Thank you, King Manchi, for... I think King Manchi sent this earlier, and I might have failed to shout out, but King Manchi gifted another 10 memberships over on YouTube. So King Manchi now more than half of our memberships over there for the night. So thank you for that, Manchi. All right, we've got our next caller here. Caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello, hi, I'm Tyler calling from Lynchburg, Virginia.
From Lynchburg, Virginia. What do you want to talk about on the show?
Hey, man, first of all, congrats, Travis, so much on these recent, the support and the sponsors. We're just, we the faithful chat are so happy for you. Been watching for a long time, so it's so good. I think you're just such a big boon to the scene. I hope that continues to go your way.
Thank you. What is the We
Anyway.
the Faithful chat? Is this like a CLG group chat or something?
No, although I have been a CLG fan in the past. No, it's just we faithful watchers. I've probably seen all but maybe 1 or 2 Hotline League episodes since the beginning. So.
Oh my gosh,
So
you missed 2 of them? That's pretty offensive. Anyway, sorry. Thank you. I'm glad to hear that you're happy with the support for the show. I can continue to make sure that Cubby can put food on his table.
That's right. That's right. That's what it's all about.
That's why I do it. Anyway, what do you want to talk about on the show?
So I called in like a year ago. I put in a couple takes here, and I think, Cubby, did you take me the first one or the later one about personalities or about Dignitas?
I got you for Dignitas. We've talked about player personalities. Yeah.
Yeah. So I called in like a year, or it might have even been 2 years ago, Travis, if you remember, and I kind of gave like a loving eulogy to TSM as TSM Soul came in. You remember Soul? He was such a bright personality, and I was like, he's gonna change TSM. We're coming back, baby. And we can see how that turned out.
They were not coming back.
Tragic crash.
They were in fact leaving
miserably as we don't have to relive that. And so for all this time, I have been wandering the desert wasteland of fandom, trying to trust again and to put my heart into a team. And I have been here and there, TL for a time, Cloud9 for a time, kind of riding the waves of personalities and successes. But man, I have just been struck by Dignitas, and I have to confess, I've become a massive Dignitas fan. Not only, my gosh, what an unbelievably opportunistic success the building of this roster is. Do you not agree?
What season is it?
It's dig season,
did they bring back
baby.
Skara?
It's freaking dig season. No, I wish they brought back Scar. They got to get him on a piece of content because Scar is the man. I still think about that Katarina pentakill. Do you remember that? Anyway. But let's just get through it. Licorice, who's like the nicest guy in the league, completely, and I think he's super going under the radar right now. He's just pooping on everybody in the top lane, making amazing plays, amazing TP plays. His comms are great in the content, and I just think he's so amazing. First team All Pro that didn't have a team. That is absurd. What an amazing pickup. Spica is my favorite league streamer. He's like the trifecta of entertainment. He's like ADHD, Zoomer energy with amazing gaming skill personified. Truly, it is a sight to behold watching him in solo queue. And I love, by the way, watching that he went like I watched the beginning of his Zyra arc recently. He went like 1 win, 8 losses in a row, and he's like, I'm telling you guys, it's just gonna be good. It's gonna be good. AP junglers are back. They're OP, and it's cool to see how he's kind of brought light to that in the LDS or in the LCS. Anyway, Speak is awesome. Sven, one of the great kings of the West, LEC and LCS. My gosh, maybe one of, if not the most valuable personalities to the LCS. Can we agree on that?
That's not a maybe.
What a talent. His casting, his personality, he's so quick, he's extemporaneous. He's hilarious. He wins. Anyway, he got the world record smolder. What was it? Like the world record smolder stacks?
Yeah, he was able to get stacks. I think it was like 19.2, the 225 stacks or something.
That was
unbelievable.
He was just farming Scion basically. That guy was
Okay.
Oh yeah. Well, he took advantage. I'm sorry. Did you have a comment?
No, I was just gonna say we can't get through all of the lists, so we just go quick.
Okay. Jensen, the man who was done dirty, and Isles, the guy who was on Peach Cats in December of last year, or Peach Cats at the end of last year.
Wait,
wow.
Cubby, there was a team called Peach Cats?
It was a tier 3 team in Ages.
Was it a reference to Azure Cats? Because that would be pretty cool.
Potentially, I don't know, but they actually won.
Azure Cats was before your time, Cubby.
I'm just saying an amazing redemption arc for him, and so I just think it's the perfect concoction of skill, personalities, kind of not the underdog story, but the comeback story. These guys could literally lose every game the rest of the season, and I'd still cheer them on.
So, caller, I really like this Dignitas roster too. I'm right there with you, buddy. My concern is, do you remember what happened the last time you fell in love with a team?
Oh no! Don't remind me, Travis.
Yeah. Where is TSM now?
Well, we don't have to talk about that. We can celebrate the.
They're in the LPL now, right?
Okay.
Oh my goodness!
I don't know. I'll check PrizePicks later. Anyway, I think that the thing that is What is Raz is freaking out right now for some reason. Raz, are you okay?
Abandoning your channel?
Oh yeah, you said the C word.
But our guest said the C word.
What C word?
Cat. We have to be careful.
Oh,
'cause-
oh no.
Appreciating
Oh,
peach
no.
cats.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
oh.
I don't know if you know about the campaign that was made to
He's only missed 2
personally
episodes.
slander me.
Oh, I know.
No, I was talking to Raz
what-
as to why he would not
Oh.
understand why this is happening.
That is
Maybe
crazy.
you've seen some signs at the LCS. Anyway, my point is, I'm worried for you because I think that Dignitas is in danger, you know, and I would say love, but protect your heart because we don't know what the future of that organization is in 2025.
So going.
What a
going off
doomer
it-
take.
Wait, how's that a doomer take? I'm trying to protect you, buddy.
It's pretty doomer.
Oh my god, no, this is the dude. He's the guy
Part
that's
of being
like
a fan,
constantly.
He's trying to
get
kill
hurt.
your fandom. He's trying to kill your
You gotta
fandom.
get hurt.
Don't let him do it. Don't let him do it. It's dig season.
Travis, I love you, but I
Guys,
have
you
to-
don't
I have to
understand.
yell
I
at-
just met this really great girl, and she's different from my past exes, and she's not gonna hurt me at all.
To be fair,
Licorice would never hurt me.
This one's a lot cheaper than the last one.
True.
What does
True.
that mean? All right. Anyway, so, Cubby, why don't you just take this? I don't know where to go
It
with
was
it.
a salary joke. Come on, you know. Anyway, wow.
I was making a trip to the red light.
Oh,
This show, I don't know what is happening in this episode. It's truly
oh
gone.
God. Okay. Anyway,
It's the most
Dignitas,
unhinged episode we've ever done.
Dignitas. So, I appreciate how we have a new team that we're a fan of. I like this. This is what teams should be doing in the LCS. What, like, I know it's the roster. Do you hold anything against this team for past seasons? And
Absolutely not.
oh, okay. So we're just clean slating this.
We're clean slating it.
All right.
I don't think I had watched even a piece of Dignitas content before this. I don't even know if they make
We're just
content.
on board
and I've
now.
watched all of their videos. I'm just on board, man.
No.
Okay.
I'm just on board.
No.
And it's
I'm-
fascinating because if you think about it, it started with the kicking of XU, right? It started off at a really bad, like, it was looking like it was
Yeah,
going to be a doom. It was looking bad, but they salvaged it. It has been so good. It has been so positive and good. Jat's interview, their content, the Speaker interview with Travis was awesome. I mean, they're just doing it right.
Like
Sven, it's
I
dig
but that's
season.
the whole point is that like they're doing it right in the like after. I feel like
Oh.
if I was Mark, well, actually, I'm not sure if Mark gets to decide. But if you're the conglomerate of people, including Mark, who probably are sitting in rooms discussing like, okay, we have 8 teams, we need to have 6 teams. Like, I feel like Dignitas is you're really excited about what they're doing now, and you're really wishing they did it like 2 to 3 years ago. And so maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it'll be like Immortals, 100 Thieves. I know there's a lot of worry about 100 Thieves within the community. I'm not saying I've heard anything. It could be something out of left field, like NRG. Maybe they just have a shit year and they're like, "Fuck it, we out." But like, I would be worried for you that you're getting very excited about a team, and I think that you need like the reason, caller, I'm concerned for you is because you said this in the context of I've been looking for someone to love for many years, and I have now found my forever someone, and like maybe you just found like a summer fling. I think that's what you found. I think you found a summer fling. And you need to
big summer.
Yeah, embrace that. And
Big Dig Summer. Well, I'm all for it.
Big Dig Summer. I really like Big Dig Summer. That should be their tagline.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, Big Dig Summer.
Come
It's
have
dig
a fling
season.
with us. I will say one of the interesting parts about all this is, like, if we didn't know that the changes were being made to LCS, I could reason that, like, the roster that Dig has is, like, they're almost trying to sell, you know? Like, it almost is like fattening up the pig and being like, okay, maybe we can sell this. But with the changes, it's like, that really isn't going to be the situation, right? Because I know that in the past, like, teams have postured to sell or get out. But that's just not the case, just with the changes already being made and, like, being announced. So it is kind of weird.
Yeah, the owner of Dignitas, I think he put something out on Twitter not that long ago saying that they're committed to the league and that they're working to, I think he mentioned something like they're planning on staying in it. And that was very encouraging to me. So,
Yeah,
I don't
unfortunately, I
know.
don't think they get to decide. Or I mean, maybe they do if like 2 other teams decide to leave. I don't know, but like I don't think that their fate is wholly in their own future. And I wish that they had been as committed to the league in previous years as they feel like they are now. Like I'm very excited about what they have put together here. I think it is more a matter of the circumstances and these players wanting to play and not having a team that finally allowed them to build this, more than like some sort of renewed commitment to the league. I'm here for it regardless, and I'm going to celebrate Big Dig Summer for as long as we can. But
Yes.
I don't know. I'm telling you, protect your heart, because what might be your new wife is actually just your summer fling.
Well, that's wise counsel, Travis, and I appreciate it. I might have to call back in a year again or so, and we'll have to follow up on this conversation.
You're just going to become the Grim Reaper of teams. Like, we're going to just know who's out, because you'll call in every 2 years and be like, I've really been liking this NRG roster recently, and I feel like they're in a really great place. And then, you're just...
Where's your faith? Where is it? Where's your positivity?
It's where's my faith? It's with CLG.
You've been calling for
Raz.
something for years, and it finally happens, and you're still not happy? That's crazy.
Raz, if you were to predict which 2 teams would not be in the league next year, who would you predict?
I'm not a predictor. It's not my job to predict.
I think it is your job to predict. They
my
literally
job
ask
to
you on the
analyze.
analyst desk, what is your prediction for this match?
It's my job to analyze, all right?
Okay.
And to analyze, I must see the product. I must see the teams that are in front of me and then comment.
Have you not seen the teams yet? There's 8 of them. I think you've seen them every day.
You got to ask future Raz. You got to ask Raz in 2025. Raz in 2024 doesn't know shit. I hate to tell you.
To be clear, I'm not sure if Raz in 2025 will know shit either, but all right. Caller.
He knows significantly more than Raz in 2024.
Yeah, that's what I always hope for every year. Caller, thank you so much for calling in. Anything you want to shout out before we take a quick break?
Yeah, shout out. It's a Big Dig Summer, baby.
Yes.
And
That's what I'm
Raz,
talking
you
about.
kill it on the LCS broadcast, man. I think you've just breathed so much life into that broadcast since you joined. It's been awesome to watch.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
And Kia, I have a Forte. I don't have that nice one that you advertised, but they're reliable, excellent vehicles. Go out and buy one.
Thank you for the Kia shout out. I appreciate it. We'll catch you next time.
God bless, guys.
What a fun episode. Okay, so we are going to take a break to talk about one of our sponsors. That sponsor is NZXT. So we announced NZXT last week as our new partner. They are awesome. I've been using the rig that they've sent me for the last week now. This is our second episode that we're streaming live from an NZXT gaming PC, and it has been fantastic for me. I've really enjoyed switching to it. It's been cool. What is going on? What am I missing over there, guys? We're trying to do an ad read, and you're undermining
Continue
it.
the ad read. Don't even worry about it.
Watch the video of this.
No, don't worry.
Watch
about
the video of this stream. Do not go audio only for this podcast.
I did a 30-second clip to find out what happened. I'll figure it out later on. Could I please do my I'm trying to impress these folks. I'm only on the second date with them to continue with the relationship memes. All right.
And this guy doesn't want to do Hotline Love,
All right. NZXT, again, they make amazing machines, but not only do they make great PCs that you can pick up if you want. You can get a Player 1, Player 2, Player 3, or custom gaming PC, but they also make awesome components like cases, fans, power supplies, CPU coolers, motherboards, and accessories. You can even pick up a keyboard or a mouse from them. I had somebody this past week message me to let me know that they had picked up an NZXT computer, and the first thing I did with that, I screenshotted that message and sent it to my friend over on the marketing side of NZXT, and they were very excited to see it. So please go check them out. One of the cool things that we've been able to do with them is provide a code for you to use, which is Travis5. That'll save you 5% site-wide, which is awesome. Really cool to have the ability to do that for folks who are looking to purchase something. And again, that's not just on a very specific product. It is site-wide. So go check it out. Please let me know if you have any issues with that code. I think that it should be fine, but sometimes these things pop up when we first build them out, so I want to make sure that everybody's having a good time. And if you are going to use it, that would be super swell. We are working on building out a link that you can click as well if you're going to go over there and purchase it, but for the time being, using the code is super helpful. Again, you can go to nzxt.com. That's fantastic. And then you might find their products in other places like Amazon, etc. And if you do, please just give me a tweet or a Discord message or something like that to let me know if you did purchase that, because it's a little harder for us to know about that if people do pick it up. But again, NZXT has amazing machines, amazing accessories at great prices, and their cases, I got to tell you, if you haven't seen them yet, go take a look at some of these PCs, because they just have beautiful cases. We were able to showcase one in our announcement video last week, and so if you're picking up a case even, because I know a lot of you like to build your own computers, just at least consider their components, because you got to build the component, or you got to buy the components to build the PC, and they certainly make fantastic ones. So again, thank you so much to NZXT. You can go check them out at nzxt.com, and please use code Travis5 to save at checkout when you do. Thanks to NZXT for sponsoring Hotline League. All right, we are back.
There we go.
Are you guys good? Are you all
We're good.
fine over
We've
there?
always,
Okay.
We've always been good.
You're behaving
Shout out to
yourselves?
yeah, we are. Shout out to our wonderful partners and everyone who is using the links to support the show, and Travis, and also sending your own testimonials. That's big time. It's a marketing term there, Travis, that you're following through on, which is great.
Yeah.
Look at
I'm
you.
trying. All right. You want to go grab the next caller?
Yeah, I got him.
Thank you to Leo the Chosen for the 11 months, Rennie the Croc for the Prime, Alamiel, I hope I'm saying your name correct, for the Prime, Warden Winter for the 27 months, the Dixie Cup for 21 months, and George Zulu for hitting 50 months, the big 5-0. Thank you, George Zulu. That's very cool of you. I think I did get just a Gyro with the next 20. I did mention that, so thank you. Thank you, Gyro, again. Wait, Gyro's doing it again. Gyro with another 10 gifted, one of which went to Preco, who recently announced the information around Arcane Season 2. So it's pretty great that you're getting subs out to one of the creators of Arcane. I'm sure he will appreciate that, and it will probably inspire the next season of Arcane. I know it's in post; it's already probably done, but maybe he'll make changes because of the fact that he got subbed and it was inspired to watch the show. Jake is here. Jake, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from London, not Ontario. London, the Big Apple, the Big Smoke. You're talking to Big Blood Clot Don Jake right now. You see me?
Inferior London, not the right London.
Listen, you've not been introduced yet, man. Stick to your lane, man.
All right. Well, anyway, great to have you on. Wait, did you call it the Big Apple?
Push back like Syndra Oriana matchup, man.
Have people called London the Big Apple? Is that a thing? Jake?
Right?
You called Jake. You called London the Big Apple, and I'm curious if that's a thing.
Listen, man. It's 5 a.m. I was pretty confused.
All right, that's fair. All right, what do you want to talk about on the show?
Well, I wanted to start by saying, before I get onto my take, that this is a very quick throwaway. I think that previous Dig fan that called in, he doesn't deserve to celebrate anything in his life ever again.
Oh my.
What? Why?
They were so thrilled about their team.
Why are you going in on our callers? They're just trying to live the good life, you know?
When someone is this fickle, I think that you don't deserve anything. So, for me, when you asked him, does anything that happened in Dig's recent history affect anything? And he said no. That's like, if I'm a Bard Chester United fan, I remember the battles between Arsene Wenger, Sir L.S. Ferguson. That's history. And he clearly doesn't understand any of the history of his club.
Yeah, I don't understand anything you're saying, but I get the vibe. Anyway,
sometimes you gotta flush out the memories. Sometimes you have to. It's a coping mechanism.
Yeah.
His team also got deleted, which, that does suck.
Yeah. What do you want to talk about on the show, though, Jake?
So my take is that I think this whole talk your split thing that they've introduced, I personally am a big advocate for trash talk. You'll see me as one of the most preeminent defenders. I was defending APA before it was cool. I think the format is very corny. It's corny as fucking fact. And I think it's also doomed to fail, and it will do more harm than good to player branding in the North American region.
Okay, so I really like this take, not because I necessarily agree with it, but because I find it very fascinating. Why do you think, when you say like the format of it, what do you think, or what are you referring to? What does that mean?
I think format is just potentially the sort of semiotic nomenclature that I've gone for here. But if we want to actually talk about what I mean, I'm sort of just relating to the general idea of it, how I anticipate that it will be applied, how I've seen it be applied, and yeah, what I imagine what it will be used for is my general critique.
All right, so lay it on me.
Oh, I've actually done like a lot of notation here. I've sort of
Oh, you're
prepared for this
really
in the
leaning into
same
the
way that I
Hotline
would.
League caller thing. You're going to read a notepad that you've written. That sounds good.
Not
Okay,
not
go
that
for
you
it.
Yeah,
Go
no,
for it.
absolutely.
not that you need more
Absolutely.
confidence, but I actually might agree with you by the end of this.
No,
So,
let's go. I want to hear
yeah.
what it is. Let's get into it.
Okay. So my first point relates to, and I've got this under the bullet point, seriousness and the mimicry of traditional sports. So for me, I think one of the problems is I think LCS is trying to become a hyper reality kayfabe in the esque of like a WWE-esque system, because whereas LCK and regions like that can kind of function off of their legitimacy and history and stuff like this, they can kind of create these moments organically. I think LCS, in realizing that they don't have any sort of competitive nature to themselves, have to commit to this kind of WWE kayfabe. So I think this will fail in a sense that in previous times you guys have not invested enough time into actually into not taking yourself seriously in the way that you would need to. For this, I think the product tries to mimic sports broadcasting, especially around the franchising era, although that's kind of eased off in terms of tensions towards now. I think one of the biggest problems that you're going to run into is that players don't necessarily come across as that interesting. It's only really a recent push that you see some more interesting players, but in general, a lot of them aren't that interesting. And a lot of this relates to the fact that, I mean, it's like, let's be honest now, and I don't want to get any hate for this. The majority of these LCS guys, they're in LA, their jaws swinging like LNG Tarzan at some EDM festival with their OnlyFans girlfriend, but they don't want to talk about that. They want to just pretend that their life is normal Jerry, and I don't want to hear about normal Jerry. I want to know about your vices, your flaws, and your vindictive nature. That's really what comes across, what has to come across, and I think that's a problem that's going to be run into. That's my point one.
Okay. Give us point two, I guess.
You can interject at any point. The second point,
I know
and
it's
we
my
can go
show.
back to
I'm
this and
happy to do
circle back.
so.
My second point is under the header. What I have coined as a phrase is actually the name of a band, but specifically here, what I refer to as cry wanking.
Okay.
Now, if I'm to break down what cry wanking is to you, essentially, for me, it feels like a lot of you guys, and again, this is going to be controversial, and someone's going to hear this, and they're going to prevent me from getting a job. Please just remember, I'm not even a real person. I genuinely take like about 5 or 6 medications. I barely know my own name. My tether to reality is very non-existent. So when you take offense to this, just remember who you're taking offense from. I think that a lot of the LCS content that I've seen in relation to players, and especially from orgs, I think that they are almost clasping their hands together like flies when they hear that one of their players' families has fled from like a war-torn country, or they had some kind of prescription medication problem in the family or something. And it feels like there is almost a tragedy boner that is going on in regards to this. And this means that overall, the scarcity of these stories being readily available at the surface means that we jump at the notion of any sort of player like Inspired saying, oh, you fucking trolled the bot dive or something like this. And it means that the vapidness really rises to the surface. The smoke and mirrors means that we can never actually peer past something that is ever going to actually be interesting in a player context.
Gotcha. Okay, so you're saying you feel like the inspired stuff is, you're saying the inspired stuff is the smoke and mirrors, that we're just getting distracted by this sort of casual TMZ style stuff.
Exactly. I think that it's just people are so ready to go at anything now that it just sort of it's quite played out to me. I mean, like when I think about, Gilius wanted to kill someone at LAN back in the day, and now we've gotten to this.
Yeah. I don't think that was like the high point of player personality presentation, So I guess I would disagree with that. Do you have a third topic really quick? I kind of want to get the full lay of the land before we dive in.
Absolutely. So this is another thing that I like to talk about. It's a sort of diatribe. It's called, I've labeled it the Reginald paradox.
Okay.
It's quite an interesting
Yeah,
thought
yeah.
experiment.
Yeah, thank you. Okay.
So essentially what it boils down to is, I'm sure you're familiar with, like, obviously Fnatic were the first ones to, I'm pretty sure they were the first ones to do the kind of player documentary style content, and then TSM Legends came and whatnot. I think one of the main problems that you run into, and it's something that I've analysed quite heavily in regards to like TSM Legends, is you are almost plotting two variables against each other within that show. In the sense of the drama and the interest in it comes from your main villain of the show, really, which is ironically Reginald. Reginald is the main villain of the show. But this goes directly against kind of what his actual role should be, which is to lead the organization into kind of, into the sunset, maybe on the back of a horse, maybe he's got like a pina colada in his hand or something like this. I don't know, whatever American sort of cliche that you want to drum up here. But
Yeah,
my
I don't
point
think
is,
Western
what of the,
tropes have pina coladas,
Yeah.
but continue, yeah.
Absolutely. My problem with this is you essentially plot the variables against each other in the sense that your good content comes from someone directly going against what their actual job is in terms of doing their job. So this is a problem you run into. That is the most successful product, I would say, in terms of like actually driving like drama in the way that is being attempted with this Tokyo Split thing. But it's so unreplicable because you wouldn't ever feasibly advise someone to go against this, go for this rather. So my point is more so saying that I think a committal to kayfabe has to be something that you are really careful with. Otherwise you end up with the Reginald paradox where you're having to plot variables against each other that don't necessarily make sense.
Well, on that last bit, I do think if you look at like the Dardock Breaking Point stuff, like you had quote unquote villains of these pieces before that don't necessarily need to be like a person who's supposed to be in the role of respect or something. So I think, so let's kind of circle back to like the main topic right here, which is the talk your split thing. So when I first heard about this, because I had it mentioned to me in passing before it was revealed, I was like, oh god, this is so cringy. I hate using that word, it's so overused. But like I do feel like oftentimes it felt like the LCS picking up on a lot of the stuff that like annoys me about Worlds or MSI, where they pick a phrase and just hammer it out. I mean, we were joking about the take notes thing earlier, and but I think that once I saw the piece of content that they had used for the opening sequence of the LCS, where you saw everybody, it's not. I don't think that they are forcing it in the same way that I think they have in the past. Like I remember when Monday Night League was a thing back during COVID, or actually I think pre-COVID. They were like, okay, Monday Night League is fun. It's super fun, and we're embracing the fun of it. And it was one of those things where they did just kind of like try to hammer that in a way that felt forced and uncomfortable. I think that they are playing with the Talk Your Split theme in a way that sort of mocks it and undermines it, where it's both embracing the sort of trash talk part, but also not trying. Like I feel like it's not going in the WWE route. I've never been interested in that sort of entertainment, sports, scripted stuff, and part of that is because it feels so scripted. Whereas I feel like with this, they're being very playful with it, where they're doing the weird things where like I think he had like a mustache on or something in the hype video and is like talking to people, and they just did all these like very goofy things that felt more playful than like reality TV. And so for me, I feel like it has not been as much of an issue. And I do think that this would, like, if they tried to force this theme in any other split from the past, I don't know, I'd say like 4, maybe 5 years, I think it would have felt so bad, because like it would be like, yeah, these guys don't ever trash talk, but now is a good time, I think, to kind of embrace it. Cubby,
So
you were saying?
Yeah, I think jumping in off that point, I think one of the things that I could see, like what Don Jake's going for here, is you don't want, like, I think part of why it hit last split is that it really didn't feel forced. Like, all of a sudden, all chat started being shown, people liked it, there was like a quick overlay made for the like actual broadcast, and then we all got to see all chat and kind of enjoy the banner, and it just like was this shift where it's like, hey, it's all acceptable now. I think that we all benefited a lot from the fact that like this felt natural. I can see that like this being the hashtag and the theme of content for the split where it might get forced, you know? And I can at least appreciate that, like, you're coming from the sense where I think part of your argument is like, we need to make sure that, like, it is natural for the players that they do want to talk. And there is something to be like, hey, are we forcing it or not? I can appreciate that. I also think it's a bit corny, but I can't doubt that the LCS is looking for a foothold somewhere, and this is the thing that landed the most the last split, so I don't mind them trying to drive this home, you know?
Yeah. I will say right now, maybe I need to figure out who the audience is for. Maybe it's just like casual audiences that don't watch and then see the tagline and maybe it clicks with them. Yeah, I've always hated taglines. I've always had it. Like the whole Ignite, whatever it was last time for LCS. Don't remember that one.
For Twitter, you know, like it used to be for the Twitter algorithm. Like, that's why you made these taglines and hashtags, and like Elon nuked all that shit. Like, you get demoted in the algorithm if you're using like ats or hashtags now. So I don't even get it from that aspect.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
But yeah, the whole like take notes at least was funny, so I can, you know, meme it at the time. Become the unknown to me still didn't make any sense. It's like, okay, congratulations, Gen G, you became the unknown. So it's like there's a few things where I'm like, I feel like at least to the current audiences, it can only deter because it just takes the attention. Like talk your split, I was like, all right, that just takes attention away from something that we've been doing pretty successfully like since last year, or at least last split, but also last year. So like we've been putting in trash talk, but like content that makes players comfortable. And the more and more you can do, like the effort that you can make in making players as comfortable as possible to say what the fuck they want. The first barrier was like them just cussing, right? Because the players oftentimes will hold themselves back because they don't want to make a mistake. And the first mistake is always like, I don't want to say fuck on broadcast. Well, thankfully, Abadage was like, I mean, it was like, I guess accidental, but like when we had stage interviews where people were like, yeah, you know what, I'm comfortable enough to start cussing and just saying how I feel in the moment and not have to be too concerned of what I'm saying. That was already a +1. And then just having pros as a piece of content that is just like 3 players and whoever is going to be on the end. It could be me, Emily, whoever, another pro like Sven, like just anybody really, that is able to make a laid-back environment where players can say whatever the fuck they want about other teams, about their teams, about the meta. Like, as long as you can give them the platform because they haven't been streaming to feel comfortable to say whatever the fuck they want, that's good. I heavily agree, and I don't want like that kind of atmosphere to feel forced, and I don't think it is so far. And I think we need to try as hard as possible to make it as authentic as humanly possible, because that's the one thing that will always sell, no matter where you are, whether it's reality TV show or just any form of entertainment. The moment you don't feel that shit is authentic, then you fail. That's all it is. So any way we can peel back on just like the polish, because polish is nice if you just to make it not feel like a broke as shit broadcast, but you still want it to feel as though the players can say what they want, do what they want, like any FPS game, like any like fighting game, just any of that. You want that to still exist. So I do still think we have, of course, interesting players, and I think their content has been good. And when I say content, yes, I think the player documentaries that we have, I haven't been seeing as many of them. I remember a few teams still tried to do them, like Evil Geniuses, and God, there's a few. I can't remember right now. 100 Thieves did as well.
Masu's the most recent one that the LCS put out, which I feel like somewhat relates to your second point too, Don Jake. Like,
but the point that I'm making is at least now we're getting fun content. I think Energy, Shopify, Dig, they've been putting out content that is a lot more like the usual TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts type of thing, where it's like short, funny content that showcases the personality of players. And if their players comfortable to do like go farther than that, like Sven or something, then we give them the platform to do it. So it's not going to be as real and toxic or troubling as the shit that we had in 2012, 2013. And I think that's, yes, there are going to be times where I miss that because I'm a dirty ass bitch when it comes to drama. I love that shit. For the past couple of months now, I've been watching reality TV shows that the dirtier it gets, the better. Like, I love that shit. But at the end of the day, we still need sponsors. Yes. Like, I love that shit. But at the same time, people need to get paid. At the end of the day, we need sponsors. We need teams to be able to like fund themselves. And so as long as it gets buttoned up and non-toxic and non-troubling, like all that shit in the past, where people were literally saying meet me at LAN and stuff, the better it gets. So as long as we can find a healthy compromise, I will take it as a win.
What do you think of all this stuff, Jake?
Sorry, so my point would be in relation to what you're saying there, Raz. I think that was wonderfully constructed there, and I think you really have a real ease of access in getting your opinions across. I just wanted to say that first.
I appreciate that, brother.
I also wanted to ask you, did you hear the rumor that apparently there was a major complaint of the studio being freezing cold at LCS last week?
Dude, it's always freezing cold. That's the craziest shit about it.
What they actually found out is the complaint came from Enero, so they completely ignored it.
Just another day. Honestly, you're successful if you ignore from him.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, relating to what you were saying, I almost feel as if, and I do agree with you, it feels as if you guys have put a concerted effort in towards kind of projecting and having this committal to allowing players to be more free, a little more loosey-goosey in regards to shit talking or letting their personality shine through. It almost feels as if when you're building something like that, which is what I'm talking about in regards to kayfabe, and if anyone doesn't have a clarification on that term, it's the committal to staged events as reality. Obviously, there's a hyper reality that kind of acts as an interstice there. What is real? What isn't? Real events can influence fake ones, and fake ones can influence real ones. Because League of Legends ultimately it's a hyper realistic environment in some ways. There's things that exacerbate that. But my point is, it feels like almost in LCS doing this whole talk your split thing, you break the fourth wall on that completely, and you go, instead of allowing this thing to kind of foster organically, you say, hey, look at this shiny new thing. And we're trying to create things that are relatively artificial when I think we could have just let them build to an organic sort of apex, so to speak.
At least in the mechanics of it, I think it's purposeless. Like, I think, yes, the tagline comes out and people will react to it because it's the thing that gets shoved into people's faces. But as long as you can look at the mechanics of the broadcast and be like, did anything actually change? No? Then great. Maybe I'm just not the target for this. If we can get more people just passively, like, let's just say if they're a Valorant fan or whatever it may be, right? If you're just on Twitch and you see, like, Talk Your Split. Now, a little sad we can't do Talk Your Shit, but I understand. We don't want to do that for obvious reasons, like the sponsorship reasons that I just said. But as long as people are like, oh, what does this mean? And see the content, and it's branded in a way in which, okay, the authentic stuff that we were doing last split is still continuing on, but it's for new viewers, then I could see it as success. I'm just not a data miner and I'm not in that field, but if it's successful from that perspective, great. But for me, I just ignore it and I focus on what the mechanics of the split are. So I don't see it as inauthentic, because at least from the interviews that we have, it is authentic. The moment we get feedback where someone's like, what the fuck is Raz doing? Why is he trying to plant hate or plant like people to hate on each other or something like that? Then I can understand that, and that's valuable feedback.
I mean, even Vulcan was like, I think APA forces it, and I didn't even feel like that was forced trash talk. Like, that's funny. That guy types all the time, you know?
Yeah.
But so I feel like the line hasn't been crossed yet, but I appreciate being wary of that, yeah.
Basically, what Raz is trying to communicate to all of us, which is the most unspoken thing in LCS at the moment. Everyone's got it on their mind. You are the Stephen A. Smith of LCS at the moment.
What? You're just saying that because you're trying to build up to a balding meme. That's literally what you're trying to do.
Dude, you hate Ant's mac and cheese. That's the new Stephen A. Smith thing. He said he wanted to eat mac and cheese. The hell's that?
He is gonna make another joke about my head or hair being pushed back.
Listen, I know that you've been reading Dr. Sebi's manuals, mate. You've been looking at those oils.
I don't know what's going on here. To get back to the topic at hand, I do think I do have two questions for you, Jake. One is, did you get a chance to watch the video that Jat did with Jensen and Inspired? It came out today.
I didn't get a chance to watch it, but I have conflicting opinions about. I haven't seen it, so I wouldn't be able to comment. But
yeah. Well, no, we all use Reddit, so that actually gives you permission to just have a lot of opinions based off the headline.
I don't know if you know Travis, but they're not massive fans of me over there. So.
No, they're not massive fans of me either. It's fine. They hate everything these days, and the mods ensure that hatred continues. But I do think that it is pretty cool that they're in the past. I think that people in the LCS would be too worried to try to about what would happen if you brought two people who seemingly had a beef together to a table and have them like have that conversation, because maybe it would be awkward or maybe these people would be frustrated with each other or whatever. The fact that they did it and it just ended up being kind of a cool conversation, I think one is great because it does bring a little bit more reality to the situation, not in like the reality TV sense, but in the just like hard reality of the fact that like so many people thought that this was a much bigger deal than it was. In that sense, the content might actually undermine the talk your split thing, which might be sort of help your case. In another sense, because of the fact, in another sense, I think it really illustrates the way they have embraced the talk your split tagline is a bit of a way to not take themselves too seriously on the shit talk. Like, I think we had a caller last split who was just like, I'm so tired of this like trash talk stuff, because what happens is somebody says one thing and then the whole broadcast becomes a conversation about how great trash talk is and this like meta analysis of the value of trash talk. Which
like I'm getting there's a part of me that's getting annoyed here.
Okay.
And it is to say, I just want to let people know, and I don't know how to deliver this message and not come across as a complete elitist prick, but I think the reality is I am an elitist prick. I think that the general caucus of people that have received shit talk content or have seen the rise of like APA's story, for example, you have proven on average, as the unwashed masses of the LCS region, that you do not deserve to have these things presented to you. Like, the fact is, and I talked about this, the same thing I criticised the Dig fan for, like, the fickle nature of the fan in regards to, like, that whole APA controversy was, like, he's the most hated player until he started winning. So as soon as you accept that your conditional variables are based upon such meritocratal, I don't know how to say that word, values such as winning, they don't actually matter. No form of branding matters, nothing that gets put on your little piggy plate. You will eat shit no matter what they serve you. It's just about winning or not. It's just about whether the shit is in a W shape or it's in an L shape. So I won't take any sort of, semiotic analysis in regards to this. I just think people just want to eat shit.
I mean, if your big take here at the end is people like it whenever their teams and players win, I feel like that's not as elitist and deep as you might think.
No, Travis, that's a gross obfuscation of what I'm trying to say, and very patronising, by the
way. Oh my god.
I mean, yes, I think that people,
these little LCS boys, they might fall for these tricks, Travis, but I won't.
I think that it is fair that our league is too hostile to not startups, to people who are coming in and are trying to make a big name for themselves without the ability to back it up. I actually have always liked when players have done that, even when they don't have it. Like last year or last split, I had the Dig bot lane, and they were doing a ranking of all the different, I think it was like other ADCs or supports or something, and they were very confident and sort of trash talking in that, even though they were near the bottom of the split. And a bunch of people were just like shit talking them, but I thought the content itself was very entertaining, and I was frustrated that the community's reception was like, oh, let's just flame these guys because they're not allowed to do it, even though every other fan who's just sitting on the sidelines and not participating in the league and is worse than everybody feels like they get to criticize the other players in the league. So I do agree with you on that, but I don't think that it is as dramatic of a thing as you think it is. I think
I'm a very dramatic person, Travis.
I know you are, but I think that it kind of goes back to what we were talking about in the beginning of the show, which is you need multiple people to be doing this. If you just have one person in a room making fun of everyone else there, then that person just kind of seems like a jerk. But if you have everybody in the room all poking fun at each other and it's going back and forth, then it becomes banter and it's entertaining. So I think that that's really what has changed a lot with the league, and I think that's why people like AP are being more accepted, not just because they're winning, but also because you get to see it go back and forth,
I think I'm kind of with Don Jake on this one. There was a lot of hate for APA when he wasn't playing well, and I feel like that's somewhat deserved, but you got to eat your shit on the other side too when he is playing well. That's part of the fun of this, because when APA first came into the league, like, I know him. One of the best quotes I have is that his first coach from Barrage, when he got promoted, he's like, APA is going to save LCS. And I saw the hashtag #TalkYourSplit, and I pinged him, Coach Lucian. I was like, APA is saving LCS. Like, they literally made the hashtag because of him, That's
Aura,
what
man.
I did not think about that. Like when he would get promoted to the league, but like everything that he's done, I feel like it's just been huge for the league, and I think that you have to appreciate that. And if you hate him, then fine. At least you have feelings towards him both ways. I mean, that's valuable. You know, it's powerful if you get emotions like that.
I will say.
There's a few. Sorry.
Oh yeah, I will say it really depends because the first person that does it needs to be good because otherwise
Good.
people
Good, man.
just yeah, because otherwise they throw you in the bin like immediately. And JoJo was the first one that came out, was incessantly shit talking people to the point where
Yep.
they were muting him, incessantly shit talking people to the point where like you were hearing other players, they're like, he's not that good, or like slighting his name, or like being more confident in shit talking him because it's easier to punch up than it is to punch down. You don't want to punch down, but if you're punching up, then people are like willing to open the floodgates on just shit talking. So I think JoJo and then yes, APA were players that really, really pushed it. Of course, European players, but honestly, no one we still don't get all their opinions. People still, I mean, the players are obviously not going to share their entire opinions on like FlyQuest or NRG. Like in fact, I remember when the FlyQuest player was saying NRG player, like everyone was saying NRG were frauds. Like that's what people were saying, right? Like consistently, and I love that shit. Not because like I agreed with that at the time and I found out, I guess maybe that's true, but because that's people punching up at the champions and being like, no, we know how they play in either scrims or something. And then, it opens the floodgates. So I think it really depends. It starts with someone being good, but to answer your point, yeah, of course people were hating on APA because it's really weird and also interesting to me to see someone who's not performing well but still shit talking. That's confidence right there.
I had a great tweet that he talks shit to keep himself accountable, and I still truly feel like that's the way with APA. That's why I've always kind of embraced it,
We first took interest, like me and Regan, in APA because we actually watched his interview with Travis, and like if anyone hasn't seen that, I'm pretty sure it's with you, Travis. It's the one he did at Worlds, and basically it's like 7 minutes of Travis just trying to squeeze sweat from Stone.
Dude, it's like 2 minutes, I think. And I think you watched it did you watch it in person? I think I came up to you afterwards and was like, I'm just going to post this for only members on the channel because I think it's such a rough interview and he says nothing.
That's like, and you're gonna hate that I say this. I think that's my favorite interview of yours ever.
Sure.
I love that interview so much. Purely, and the reason I took such a profound interest in APA from that is that if you go and watch it, it's essentially just him saying, I played like shit, we don't even deserve to be here. Like, just sort of like completely dead set in a way that isn't even like players often when they're depressed or they're crying. I've got quite a few interviews with like when G2 got eliminated, for example, at Worlds. They're still trying to perform the media role and like give you answers, but it's obviously held back by a degree of them being crestfallen. But with him, it's just a pure, unfiltered like, we are shit, we are dog shit, we don't deserve to be here. I deserve to have the ground swallow me up for this. And I was just like, this is so rawly authentic. And then he's one of the only. I talked to like a few players behind the scenes and like give them a few things. I sent him Roy Keane VODs. And he's been watching Keane stuff. And so yeah, we've been working together a little bit.
Nice break.
He's a good guy. He's good. He knows what he's doing with branding and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't speak to many players that do.
Well, Don, Jake, I should probably let you go to sleep because I know it's past your bedtime over in the old empire. But I
It's not
appreciate.
actually, but if you need me to rush on, then that's fine.
No, well, we are 11 minutes over time, and I still need to take another caller after this. So I will let you go. But is there anything that you want to shout out here at the end? Where can people find your content?
Got two shout outs here. I'm actually setting up an elite society of hyper-masculine, high-performance sort of alpha males. And we're going to be trading ideas in a sort of Telegram channel. And essentially the group is called The Rhombus. And you can actually join for $14.99 a week. And that's available.
A week? Oh, okay. I thought most of those are about a month, but your service is a week.
No.
Yeah.
No, we've gone for a different subscription model. Also, my second shout out, it's not really a shout out, it's a question, is your sister a Lengazi?
I don't even know what that means.
Is she Lengatastic?
Is this is this one of those?
Is she Lengamus Prime?
Is this one of those SawCon memes?
No, mate. All right, I'll let
We're
you
asking
get on
about
with it.
legs, you know. Yeah, I like it.
Shout out to all the partners. Shout out to my partner.
Where can people find your content if they want more of this accent and dialect, I guess?
You can find me on Ruddy Corp on YouTube. I used to make interviews, and then I had like a depressive episode and experienced the Sisyphus-like climax of what making content on YouTube is like. But you can find me schizo posting on Twitter over at NotDonJake, NotDonJake. That's because the actual owner of the tag Don Jake is a Christian pastor who's about a 55-year-old black guy from the States, and he won't give me the at no matter how much money I offer him. Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Keep it, priest. That's my pope right there.
All right.
Real Don Jake.
Well, now that
I
we have
Don Jake.
That was an experience.
ventured through that and made it to the other side, what a better time to segue into our Kia, our Kia talking point for the evening. Thank you to Kia for sponsoring Hotline League. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't get very fascinating calls like that one, or at least I couldn't continue. Look, we need sponsors. It's a tough time out there, and Kia coming in and helping us out for the summer split has been really fantastic. Raz is always up to shenanigans while I'm doing these ads, and it makes me difficult. I have to zoom in whenever I deliver the ad to the sponsor as an example on my own face, so that they don't go, what's going on in that other box? All right. I want to talk to you all about Kia. They are a proud sponsor of the LCS, of multiple LCS teams, and also of Travis Gafford Industries Hotline League show and other affiliated LCS coverage, which is pretty swell because, as I mentioned before, it's a time where we actually need brands to come into the space and be supportive of the league and the teams and the content creators such as myself, because we all want this to continue to go on, and I think that the brands that are coming in now are the real thing because they are, there was a lot of hype for a long time. Kia's coming in at a great time to help support in an authentic way. And speaking of supporting them, you can support me by checking out the EV9 or the EV6, which is also fantastic. But the EV9 specifically is an all-new, all-electric 3-row SUV with 5,000 pounds of towing. It's got 6.8-inch ground clearance, lounge seats in second row and first row passenger seats with power-fold leg rests, bidirectional portable power generators, which allow you to power household items in the event of a power outage or for recreational use, self-parking, remote smart parking assist, all sorts of cool stuff. It's just really neat to see Kia coming through with the kind of forefront of technology on a lot of these things. It's a fantastic time to check out a Kia. And if you do, please let them know that Travis sent you. It won't do anything because the dealership will be like, Travis who? But you and I will both know that you did, and it'll make me feel better. No, go check them out. We'll put a link in the description of this. They do some really great stuff in esports, and it's been awesome to have them be a partner of the space and to come in and help sponsor shows like Hotline League and Surprise Test and others that we're going to be working with them on. I will be getting access to an EV9 in July. We were just talking about the dates for that, and so we're going to be making some content there, which will be kind of fun. Just nothing too fancy, but just like a fun little video and some content around me getting to use the EV9 and trying to figure out if I want to go on a road trip with it or just want to check out some places in LA, but it's going to be really fun to be able to do that. It'll definitely be the first time that I will be getting to try out a really awesome vehicle as part of a sponsorship. And so esports opportunities continue to bring me unique things I never thought would happen in my life. And
do you have your driver's license?
So I do have my driver's license.
Okay. Insurance covered?
Yes.
All right, that's good.
Are you worried about me? I'm a very safe driver.
I am your co-host, so that's
true.
Manage the business, so
yeah.
A little bit.
It would
trying
be
to do my job here.
Yeah, it would become an issue if it was you and Raz doing the show by yourselves, and Raz
he's way more entertaining than me. Let's be honest.
Just doing this the entire episode.
I love it.
Anyway, thank you to Kia for sponsoring the show. Really great to have them on as a partner. By the way, in the chat, I just saw somebody who asked me this. Palace said Hotline League happening next week. I believe we will do a Hotline League next week, but I think we'll probably take the 8th off. So, because I think there's about a 17-week LCS break that's happening this summer. So there won't be as much to talk about during that time. So we're going to take at least the 8th off, but we're going to figure out the other 16 weeks later. Anyway, I think we're ready for our last caller, Cubby. Oh, Cubby is already off to grab them. Thank you. Res, how are you doing? How are you feeling about this Panthers thing that happened? They won, right?
Oh, now you want to talk sports.
Yeah.
When your friend is at his lowest point, now you want to talk sports?
Well, I just thought you seem to have a lot of energy. I'm actually trying to bring you to a lower point because I'm worried about how high the point is that you're at right now based off of the visuals. Podcast listeners are missing a lot of strange things happening.
What are you, a Death Eater? You're trying to take my fucking soul because I have too much of it?
Listen, if I can't be happy, no one should be happy. Skizzle is here, and Skizzle is hopefully happy. Skizzle, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Fairfax, Virginia.
Fairfax,
Second
Virginia.
Caller today.
What'd you say?
Virginia. Second Virginia caller today.
Yeah,
Fairfax,
I know.
Virginia.
You guys you're always invading my show. What do you want to talk about on the show?
I just want to talk about how the venue decision for LA is probably one of the LCS worst decisions recently. It kind of a slap in the face to non-LA based fans.
I gotta say, really quickly, just as an aside, I wish people wouldn't use the phrase slap in the face. I feel like it just undermines the argument. It's so dramatic.
What?
Is it a slap in the face? Did you really get slapped in the face?
I feel a little insulted.
Okay, I agree.
You're an LA-er,
I agree
Travis.
that it's insulting, but I just feel like slap in the face. The problem is I just see it used so much often on Reddit where people will be like, this $500 Ari skin is a slap in the face to all of us people who refuse to spend any money on this game and ad block the shit out of content and refuse to engage. It's just a strange pet peeve. But I can understand why you feel insulted. I will say you got East Coast has had a lot of events recently, Skizzle. So why is this one feeling so frustrating to you?
I mean, it's honestly not just the East Coast thing. I think the LA thing is bad. For one, it's in like a really small venue, and it's not like in a particularly nice venue. I think if they got something like the Staples Center and said, we're really going to the bash, guys, we got this great, awesome venue that is iconic, sure, but it's literally in the corner of SoFi Stadium in a crappy neighborhood next to the airport, which we already did
Wait,
last
have you
year at
been to
Newark.
this area? Or
Yeah,
did you
I
just
I
see the
know
events?
from Dr. Dre songs. They compare Compton they compare Inglewood with Compton and Long Beach.
Okay, how
That's my
old are those
understanding of it, at least.
songs?
Probably for the 90s, but
Okay, I just want to say a lot has changed in the last 30 years.
Have you heard of the
Okay.
word gentrification?
Yeah, not to
Yes,
say that that's
okay.
a good thing necessarily, but I'm just saying
Yeah.
the neighborhoods do naturally evolve over time, and I don't
Yeah.
think that you should be looking to 90s Dr. Dre songs for
Giant
feedback
stadium
on
there
the
now.
for instance, YouTube Theater and SoFi Stadium did not exist 5 years ago, so
that
it's
is true.
it's
There's millions of dollars in that. But to be fair, it's also in a car park, near the airport, just generally speaking. It's not downtown or anything like that, right?
well,
Even as a person on the East Coast, right? If I wanted to go on vacation to LA, that's probably the last place I would go. And at least the Riot Games are at
by
least
this
that's bigger to
argument,
me, right?
you're suggesting they shouldn't hold the Super Bowl at SoFi Stadium because
Yeah.
it's not
Well,
good
that's
enough.
that's not. They're not holding at the 5,000 theater, auxiliary theater. They're holding at the main venue, which is a football stadium.
Yeah,
Yo,
I know,
caller,
but you're
that's
using
people.
the location of all this to anyway, whatever, it doesn't matter. So
Yo, caller, can I help you out real
Yeah.
quick? If you're
We don't-
frustrated about the location, be frustrated that it's in the same city for 2 splits in a row. And
Yeah,
that people
and
are
I was gonna get to that, right? The
Yeah,
biggest thing as
there you
well
go.
as number one
Yeah.
is that it's gonna be 2 full years, right? If they don't have another spring road show, it's gonna be 2 full years of the LCS literally never being outside of LA at any point in time. Honestly, as a fan, it's even personally insulting me that they can't even drive 4 hours to Las Vegas, where there's every kind of size and type of venue possible to rent. They just had to rent literally most convenient thing for them possible. And
well,
honestly,
no, they
just,
rented the most convenient thing for them possible in the spring.
That's true. That's fair. There you go. All right.
This
See,
is the
honestly,
second
that's
most
what I'm saying. If this
convenient.
was a spring road show, I feel no one would care and be that's fine. They're cutting costs. It's closer. It's a smaller stadium. And honestly, right sizing the venue is probably the least egregious thing that they did in all this.
Yeah.
I understand them being well, let's get a smaller venue. We can definitely sell out, and that's fine. But the fact that they couldn't go to say Denver or Las Vegas or KC or Seattle or anywhere else that has decent flights into and out of it is a little far away. It's probably better for me to plan a 3-month vacation, because I was planning on basically flying to anywhere that the summer roadshow was. because
Did
I
you
was
say
like, well,
3
I
months
missed,
vacation, to be clear?
or 3 months in advance, excuse me.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Pretty much the
Sorry.
plan, yeah.
Yeah. So like, I was basically planning on flying anywhere to the summer roadshow that it was going to be. But I was in LA, I'm like, what's the point? I could just go to like it next year and like plan a nicer LA vacation than like
Well,
staying in the Hilton near the LAX.
you,
for
you
2
know,
days.
next year, you might have to go to one in LA and one in Sao Paulo. You know, we don't know how the
That's
new
true.
system's
Like that's what
gonna
I'm saying.
work.
Like what if they could have the like the summer roadshow
Yeah.
in Sao
Well,
Paulo,
they
and
only-
then there's no summer roadshow for 3 years.
To be clear, they're only
Outside
going to
of
have
LA.
one regional championship. So we're now moving to that moment where there will only be one of these shows a year, which is kind of what they did this year.
Yeah.
And to Cubby's point, it might be in Rio or Sao Paulo or something. So, I mean, I think for me, I feel really bad for the Canadian fans who had their Canadian event canceled during Worlds 2022 and who have not had like the LCS has not visited since what was it, 2017? Was that when Toronto was? No, Toronto was, or 2017 was Boston, I think. I forget. Anyway, yeah, I think that I feel really bad. Like a Vancouver roadshow would have been sick, or something in the middle of Canada. Raz, you're familiar with Canada.
Something like Calgary, because we don't want to go to Manitoba or Saskatchewan for obvious reasons.
I mean,
like,
Calgary, that's
it's the
not.
home of multiple LCS players. All right, I'm just putting it out there. We've got Licorice. We had the odd one. I know there's another Calgarian out there. I completely forgot, but I know we have an ocean of Calgarian players. But it happens. Okay, so Calgary is well known for being incredibly icy during the winter. So as long as the event doesn't happen there, we're completely fine. But yes, yes. Basically, I think if it goes to Canada, I would love it. I agree with you. That would be amazing.
Do you think it ever will?
Yes, yes. Why not?
Because I just feel like they're just not doing Canada shows anymore. I wouldn't be surprised if there's just a lot of visa issues and all that stuff that prevent them from doing it. It's like maybe expensive to do. I don't know. I'm
sure that's the reason.
I mean, they couldn't do it for Worlds, and obviously that was a much more international event. But it's not as though we don't have a lot of international players in the LCS. So, I don't know.
And also something I want to consider with this as well is that something people really haven't discussed is the fact that the finals are on a Friday and Saturday instead of Saturday, Sunday, which considering going this year, it's like the big return to the weekend, right? That's what we're doing. And then it's like, well, the one time we're having a roach in the finals isn't fully on the weekend. It's on a Friday, Saturday.
Yeah.
Because we need to avoid Kids Bop Live or the NFL or some combination thereof.
Yeah, I do agree that is also very frustrating, and I think was one of the bigger things that flew under the radar. I mean, the Saturday show, the sort of day one show of the 2-day final stuff, has always underperformed and not had a lot of people in. The problem is I feel like they're kind of doubling down on that with this. So
really, I feel like it's actually the other way around. Like the Friday Saturday thing doesn't bug me as much. I mean, if you have a standard 9 to 5, you are opting into potentially taking a bonus day off. But I mean, if this is a trip for you and a long weekend, I think that a Friday Saturday versus a Saturday Sunday point is kind of mute. And if anything, I'd prefer it to get back to my job on Monday.
Yeah, but no, you're also forgetting the people who want to just watch the game. There's a reason why we went back to weekends. This
football season's on by that point of time. That dominates everything.
Cubby, no.
No,
Cubby,
college football season.
Cubby,
so
I'm really
missing
trying
that
to get
on
people
Saturday,
to
Cubby,
enjoy you
so,
as a
like,
co-host, and you're just not making it easy sometimes,
I mean, we have a new PrizePicks sponsor, so maybe I'm trying. The football's on there too.
That's
But
fine.
I do want to say that I do agree that going to LA is probably not the best choice. I mean, mostly because you can just go to a different West Coast city if you want to. That's not really served. If you want to go to Vancouver, completely fine. I love Vancouver. Let's go there. If you want to go to another part of America, all right. I mean, we went to North Carolina, so anything is possible. So I'm just putting it out there that I'm fine with anything. LA is fine. I mean, it's a little rough. I will say, let me think. I was trying to say something. Oh, right. Question to you guys. It's more of a question. So the spring 2018 theater in Miami.
Fillmore.
Did you guys like that?
I liked the Fillmore.
I don't remember it. I'm okay with a smaller venue though.
Yeah, I like the Fillmore Theater for spring. I referenced that when I talked about how disappointing it felt to do the LCS studio for spring because in 2018 we did the Fillmore, which I think was like 3,000 people.
Yeah, it
and
was
a
like
lot of people
3,000,
felt frustrated
2,000, yeah.
that it was too small and all that, but I felt like they were at least able to embrace the vibes of that city a lot. I would rather do LA with 6,000 seats than like Miami with 3,000 for a summer finals or like a whatever they want to call it now, like the regional championships and stuff. So
Yeah.
I'd prefer bigger arena and local than in this case than like a 3,000 person arena someplace else. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Because I love venues that carry audio well, like the Tabernacle in Atlanta, or obviously that one's much smaller.
I'd rather have it filled up too. You know, I
that too.
I appreciate a big spot where a lot of people can go attend the games for realistically a cheaper ticket, but if it's like it's way more exciting if the building's full. You know.
The building's full, and
Yeah.
on top of that, just able to carry the audio. Because I think we were blessed. The one fear that I had, the Danny Pentakill in Houston, was
Oh
in the
yeah.
fuck off big ass football stadium.
Yeah.
I think it was the Energy Stadium or something like
Yep.
that. I was
They cut it
like,
in half.
yeah, I was like, God damn. I hope people can hear it, and thankfully they could hear it. And it was really fucking loud because it was the best play in LCS history. But there was a fear that, you know, the audio couldn't carry well because it was a huge ass stadium and you were only really filling the bottom decks and rows. So I was worried about that. So I'm happy with a smaller theater. And I think as long as the theater carries audio well, I don't know anything about the YouTube theater, so I'm just basically putting it as a general point. I'm a fan, but if it was just in another city, I think it would be better. That's all.
I'm in. I realize how important the traveling show is, just talking to my casual like friends. So I have a group of friends where I started playing League with them in season 2, and they're still good friends this day. Like they were my high school buddies, and I'll be seeing them Labor Day weekend as we pick our fantasy football teams on a trip we take every year. The last time I saw them though was we all went to the Chicago final because they're from the area.
Yeah.
And when they saw the changes for the ecosystem, they put in our group chat like, damn, you know, I'm probably not going to see another league show in person. Like the odds just go way down. And for them, like that really matters, you know, the fact that like they could go and attend the event. They had 10 times more fun attending the event than watching it at home, which they aren't as likely to do because they're watching other stuff. So that was a big appeal for them. And I kind of realize and appreciate how important it is and how excited people get when you travel. Like my favorite part about going to these shows, and shout out to Riot. Like I know I'm just a tier 2 caster, but they do give us tickets to go to these like finals events. We pay for our travel, but it is nice that Riot helps us out there. I just like asking people like, hey, where'd you come from for this, you know? And you'd really hear like people come around regionally and be like, oh, like I'm so excited to see XYZ. Like I want to meet this player on the weekend. Like that's cool. And having the show be in LA every week is great in its own right. And there's a great community out here that goes to the games a lot. But I think that, you know, this is a game that is international. And so finding ways to reach that, especially on a national basis for this league, is important. And with the changes being made, that's definitely something that's been deprioritized across all regions for the last couple of years. And it's not going to get better. So I appreciate fans being concerned about this. I feel like it's actually something very much rooted in like a faithful fandom. So, yeah.
Yeah, go on. You go.
No, you finish, Raz, Eric, because I just want to say something at the end here.
Okay, because I was just reading the chat and people. Yes, Houston was amazing. FanFest itself, I really enjoyed, and being able to talk to people. I remember, Travis, your Hotline League episode, and being able to see the people that were really excited about that, and just like talking to people coming from either is like excited that they live in Houston or Texas and it's back there because I think there was a finals in Texas that was canceled or something. I remember that one. So like that it's either close to them or they took time out of their weekend and work to fly over. Like all those things showcase fandom, especially coming out of COVID, where we started to question that if things would come back to normal again.
That's half of why the Danny Pena was so crazy, honestly, because like that was the first event back in a venue, and then that happened, and I feel like that, like the history of that, like is involved in the fact that we didn't have that in-person aspect for a couple of years. So
yeah. So thankfully, we're in a different venue other than the studio. It just needs to be in another place, and I think they recognize that, hopefully. At least, yeah. So we'll see what happens after this year. I mean, there's a lot changing next year. but I know for sure that does mean we'll have road shows still. I mean, remember, someone from one of those conferences got to travel. someone from one of those conferences has to move during playoffs.
Oh,
So,
wait, when's the
we'll
first
see.
time they'd meet? Maybe whoever does better at MSI, they get to host. I mean, there's no way they'd do a venue
I
on
mean,
that
that's
short
not
aspect,
how.
but that'd be cool.
Yeah,
we
you
don't
gotta
know
book the
anything.
stuff so early. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be cool.
We don't know it. Yeah, we don't know. But hopefully we get more coming from just more venues. Just to get
I'll
out
just
video.
I just want to say something kind of personal here at the end, which
Yeah, okay.
is when I first got into doing this content creation stuff, it was really difficult for me because when I'm only creating the content and only sticking it on the internet and seeing comments and all that stuff, it can be somewhat depressing sometimes. I mean, Twitch chat, YouTube chat, you all and my Discord, a lot of people are really nice, but then there's also just a lot of people that are kind of shitty, and even the nice people, it's hard when it's just like that abstract name that you see in chat. It is meaningful, but it's not as great as whenever I started going to like LCS events and meeting in person League of Legends esports fans who enjoy the sport and are just passionate. And that's part of the reason why when I went to LCS opening weekend, the week and a half ago, it felt so great again to meet a ton of people who were just like, dude, I watch our Hotline League or I listen to it every week, and I'm just so excited this week about the games, and I'm so excited to root for this person. And I felt it was really rough during COVID for me when we had multiple years where I got to experience none of that, and I was just sort of, again, uploading videos in isolation in my apartment while listening to Kobe work out in the living room and making me feel shameful about the state of my own athleticism. But
This did get personal.
it's been great when I was able to start going out. Like that Houston trip was great. Worlds in 2022 was one of the best experiences I've had in my career. And this year, with there not being a spring finals in a real venue or real location, with not being able to afford to go to cover MSI, with not being having the ability to go travel to like a cool part of the country or to Canada and meet people from a different part that are out at their first ever League of Legends event after watching for 10 years or growing up watching the sport or something, that stuff sucks. And like it is it was kind of funny to say, but I was reflecting a lot on part of why I'm enjoying traveling to so many Magic events, because I get a shit on from Mark and other people for talking about Magic a lot, or for, this weekend I did not go to LCS. I was in Tacoma at this Magic event. And part of it is it's just really great to go out and like meet people who have a shared passion again.
Yeah, man.
And a lot of times I'm meeting people who are League fans at these things, and I'm playing Commander with them, and I'm like talking to them about stuff, and they're talking about how they love APA or hate APA or whatever. And that is so meaningful, and it helps rejuvenate me in a way that like that I lack whenever I can't go to a cool new city like Miami and do a live Hotline League there and have people come out and say, "Oh, I've seen every episode and it's so cool to be here in person," or to see a bunch of fans losing their minds over like a Danny Pentakill or something. So I don't know. I am very personally sad whenever we are not able to have finals in the way that we were able to previously. And like, I know I get shit on for saying this last week and for being doomer about it, but like, this is in probably most ways going to be like the last LCS finals. We don't know if LCS as a brand will continue next year, but even if it does, like, they are not going to do these finals the way they did. The finals now will be regional championships, which is going to be very different than what they have been. So it is a little bit of a bummer that there was not some like last big hurrah here at the end for what these things were before we transition into whatever this next phase is. And hopefully those regional championships are sick in their own way, or maybe they're going to be unique in a way that like the current, like a spring finals or summer finals was not able to, but I'm kind of bummed about it.
Look, people are going to call me a shill. I'm going to put this out there. But it's in the same line what I said earlier today when I was talking about not caring about taglines when it's like Talk Your Split or the Ignite, whatever. Look, I don't care about the branding, whether it's called LCS, whether it's called Americas, whether it's called, I don't know. But for me, as long as it's just games, we're in front of fans and we get road shows and all that shit, you can call it anything. I'm okay with it. So you better not start with this whole last LCS ever and this whole sentimental shit. I don't want to hear it. All right.
I'm
I
with
think
you,
I already
Raz.
started with it.
But there have been so many unsuccessful rebrands. I'm just done with it. So I want LCS and CB LOL. I don't give a shit what we call the overall thing.
It's a rebrand with purpose. Look,
That's true. That's true.
Much
Just
like
keep the
anything,
leagues and then call it Americas, and it's fine. Everyone gets it. It's fine.
Look, I, much like you, do not like purposeless rebrands. Doesn't make sense to me. But this one is a one with purpose, so I'm fine with it.
It's true.
As long as we have the same, like, great fucking content, great teams.
Okay, fine. Ignore the part about the name. I disagree with you on the it's a rebrand for purpose and that it doesn't matter. But even let's say it doesn't matter, or let's say they keep LCS.
Okay.
What is true is that this will be the last finals of this type. Like, going forward, this show will be once a year. This style of show will be once a year, and it will be replaced with the regional championships, which will have the North Conference and South Conference teams fighting for a world spot. Yeah. And that is why it's a bit of a bummer that this is going away, and that this is the way it's going away. And so people should go when tickets go on sale. They aren't on sale yet, right? I think they're coming on sale this week.
I'm not too sure. That's a good.
We should know
question,
those,
though.
but I'm sure it'll be on the front page of lolesports.com.
Yeah,
but I encourage people who are listening to this right now and want to go to an LCS finals, if you can afford to, try to get a ticket, because I think that this will be a really good show, and I think it will be different in the future. Maybe better, and that would be great. I'd love to be shown that like this next thing is going to be awesome, but like it will be different. So if you want to experience this and you haven't, I would encourage you to figure out a way to do so. Yeah. All right.
They're a lot of fun. They mean a
Why
lot.
are you being solemn? Look.
Yeah.
The only thing I'm sad about is the fact we'll have less partner teams, which means less slots. That's the one thing I don't like.
I mean, we're still, dude, it's going to feel the same.
It's going to be 8 still. Yeah.
It's still going to be 8. Like, you could end up with
Okay, that
Disguised
doesn't
Toast
count.
in. I think Disguised Toast instead of Immortals or Shopify is going to be fine.
Like, that's not going to count in my mind.
It's not going to count?
Look,
You're gonna
partner teams are partnered for a reason. So the players that are going to be on the
Yeah, they spent $10 million to be partnered.
Yeah,
or they
the point
bought a
being-
team from fucking TSM on the way out. Like, that's not, I don't think that's a valid partner. You know, you're partnered for a
Okay,
reason. That's more valid than like Disguised Toast invested and cared
gotta-
about his team in the tier 2.
You got to let me finish my point, Travis Gafford from Travis Gafford Industries.
All right, I'll mute myself. I'm muted.
All right, I appreciate that. Look, you have 6 teams that are partnered, aka, paid well, I'm sure, funded quite well. Meanwhile, if you're, let's say, a team that's called Disguised Toast, that's a guest team, I'm sure, pretty confident that you're not going to be paying the players as profitably because it's not a secure position. You probably won't have that many sponsors. It's just a thought process. The other one's going to be the LLA team. That's going to have a different, from what I've heard and what Mark has said, where they're going to have a different import rule in which they're going to have LLA players. So that's going to be, yes, less jobs for the North American teams as we're replacing them. So if we're just talking about from a job security standpoint and how much these players that are getting these positions are played, we're going to lose a lot of jobs. That's what's going to happen. And I'm just talking about from an LCS perspective that, that sad point that I'm making about the LLA team taking the spot from us. Well, guess what? LLA lost their entire region. So there's jobs being lost. That's the one point that I'm going to make.
That's fair. We made that point a lot when they came out. I'm hoping that the changes to the guest spot and can kind of help tier 2 see some investment and more interest to help the teams be more stable there. But
yeah, but it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be exciting, and this is the last point that I'll make, Travis Gafford. Then you can unmute. It's you can still have the guest spot, but you can still have more teams. That's the only thing. That's all. That's the last point. I love the guest spot. More teams.
could have went to 10. That's fair.
There it is. All right, you can unmute now.
All right, I've unmuted. Thank you for permission to do so. I appreciate it. Our caller is still here. Skizzle, anything you want to add here at the final bit? I know we kind of went on a rampage.
That's okay. It's okay. Just please Stop being so LA brain riot. Thank you. EST. Excuse me. Yes, Eastern Standard Time is the main standard time zone of the US. It's not PST.
It's not the main. What do you mean
The one
main?
that they use because that's where 50% of the country lives.
Who uses that?
More
You
than that.
see it because you live in that time zone, so
If
everything
you
is
watch
formatted
like any
for you.
watch ESPN or like any nationally televised thing, they use EST. Unless they have a PST.
Who
stream,
watches
which
nationally
like
televised
HBO.
things in 2024?
You're showing your age.
Oh my god.
Hey, Travis, sports. Get into them.
Sports.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, PrizePicks, for sponsoring this episode of Hotline League.
Yeah,
Skizzle, anything you want to shout out here at the end besides? Well, I guess you already did kind of a shout out, but anything else you want to add?
Shout out to my wife Lizzie. Shout out to Kia. My in-laws. Just to give a quick tidbit on Kia. My in-laws chose a Kia Telluride, which is not the car you're pushing, but it's the car they sell, over a Porsche and a Genesis. And apparently that's good enough to get clout in the rich gated neighborhood they live in. So Kias are cool guys. Very cool.
That is not in the talking points they've given me.
I don't think that's really a
brand.
target demo for the LCS. But hey, if you have rich parents, Telluride, there you go.
Hey, what you're trying to say is that it's classy.
I'll forward this.
No, the Telluride's very nice. You get the highest one. It is very classy. I've been in it.
I'll forward
Trying to
this to
help
their
out
brand
your
team so that they know some other areas they can move their conversation in. So, thank you so much, caller, and we will catch you next time.
Thank you.
All right. That's we had a mega episode this day, and I did not expect it. And also, we had a very unhinged episode, which I also did not expect. So, but Raz was on, so I should have.
A little bit.
All right, Cubby, what do you want to shout out and promote? What do you want to say?
Thanks to everyone that tuned into my stream today. I peaked at like 55 viewers without raids, which was quite fun. We went over all the LCS games, and I'm getting them on my YouTube as we speak and annotating them. Also, shout out, there was a thread made about the NACL YouTube channel. I left a comment in there. Shout out to our team behind the scenes. YouTube's not our priority, but we're going to be working on using it because it's really good to have a place where our content lives. One of the things we're working on is a Vault series to go through some pieces we did in the past. Some aged really well. So we're going to be trying to find a home for some of the content that we have now and then the good content in the past, which is great. And then shout out to Travis. He did everything with the lifting of him and his team, finding these new partners. And I really appreciate your hard work, Travis. It's I don't know what goes into all this. I just kind of show up here and pull callers, but yeah, it's good stuff.
No, it's fun. I mean, I really enjoy getting a chance to message you about this stuff, and Cubby has known that about all three of these in the pipeline for a while, so it's been cool, and I think I would shout it back to you, Cubby, because I think if you had come on the show after Mark left to go do whatever job he's doing, I'm not familiar, and you had just sucked, we wouldn't be able to get these sponsors.
Well, I try to not suck that much every episode,
and that's what I need from you. So I appreciate it.
It's great. You're carrying the ship. Also, shout out to you guys. I know it's been long, but I appreciate these going long. You guys, you were talking about meeting up with the community and talking to them, and I look forward to these every week. Just sit
me
down
too.
and chat with smart people. So yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of chatting with smart people, Raz.
Yeah.
What do you want to shout out? What do you want to plug here at the end?
3 things. Number 1, begrudgingly, shout out to FlyQuest. Papa Smithy's in the chat for their Florida Panthers. My bad. Winning. Look, I should be happy that Edmonton Oilers lost, but that was a win for Canada. It could have been, but it is what it is. Congratulations to them. Number 2, did a content piece that just came out with Basil called Paws and Pixels. Check it out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was really fun. Yeah.
Yeah, that is fun.
Fun little interview. She has her own, YouTube channel as well. Paws and Pixels. Check it out.
They asked me if I want to be on that show. I said yes, and then they never got back to me. So.
Oh, that's base.
And then you had a show come out, so it's just kind of interesting how that
Follow
happened.
up.
Yeah. Oh, let's just say someone seems to be the better guest.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, I don't know.
Saying it.
Maybe they found out that the word cat is banned in your channel.
I said.
Oh, true.
I said, hey, listen, I would love to do this. I have a whole idea where we're playing Magic the Gathering together. And then they said, great, we'll reach out. And then I never heard again, so I don't know what happened. But
They just knew that you're biased against cats.
You got zoomered. Basil's like, I'm not playing Magic.
Yep. You said way too much. And they knew your anti-cat bias was going way too far.
Yeah, their cat's on set, Travis. You got to be careful.
You have to. So, You know, you might accidentally bring it home to Kobe.
That is not likely.
Okay. Just
Either way.
They need homes.
And the last one, LCS is on Thursday, Friday this week, so please, guys, do not miss it out. Do not miss out. The games that are happening, because, of course, Raz would never forget the games that are happening this week.
Fourth shout out the new LOL esports website, which is certainly not up on any of Raz's monitors right now.
Exactly, it's just not.
Yes.
It's absolutely not. So of course you have 100 Thieves versus Team Liquid, IMT versus NRG, Shopify Rebellion versus Cloud9, which is basically some of the old guys from the Cloud9, Challengers team, moving on against the C9 squad. So it's like basically Father's Day back again. So Dignitas versus FlyQuest. So there's a lot of amazing games happening, especially Dignitas versus FlyQuest.
Yep.
So actually, I'm more interested in the Friday games because now you only have Father's Day for the first series, but you're also going to have the X's, Dig versus Fly.
Oh.
You got Spica, formerly from Fly. You have Jensen, formerly from Fly. You know, all I'm saying is there's some drama there, and if you love drama, tune in, check it out.
And check Jat's piece interviewing both of them. Anyway.
There it is.
All right, for me, thank you to all of you for tuning in. Shout out to everybody who I met up in Tacoma. It was really fun. I will be at the LCS this week. Figuring out if it's going to be Thursday and Friday or just one because Team Liquid has yoinked my video producer this past week. So I don't have him for this week. So I'll expect some out of focus and not, I guess, proportionally correct interviews from me as I try to get this all together.
Have faith in your abilities.
Thank you, Raz. You're always building me up, and I'm always trying to build you up. And I hope that you sense that over the course of the show because somebody in chat said that I was being mean to you, and I disagree with them.
He was being extremely rude.
What? Extremely?
No.
He's self-muted, Raz.
You're quite nice. That is true.
Mark
the main host of the show
Buffalo,
muted.
noted 25-month subscriber, said that it was less than cool the way I treated you this episode. And that's just going to sit with me as I lay in bed tonight trying to sleep and am unable to because I'll just think Mark Buffalo brought me
if he means it,
to my
he'll use his
knees.
sub on Raz and not you,
Look, Mark Buffalo is looking out for me. I appreciate you, Mark Buffalo. Very close. You're probably the brother of Mark Ruffalo. That's exactly how that works. I love you. Appreciate you. And maybe one day Travis will be less mean to me.
Shout out to Kia and NZXT and PrizePicks. Make sure you use Travis5 at NZXT and also use code Travis when you sign up for PrizePicks. People ask me sometimes what's the best way to support me. Legitimately, without going into details, the new best way to support me and the content I make is to go sign up for PrizePicks if it's available in your area and make your first deposit, which they match. And when you do, please use code Travis because that will be helpful. Especially if I'm trying to get to Worlds.
Contest.
And yeah, just go buy a car. Go buy a Kia. Thanks, everyone. We will be back on Monday, unless something goes strange, the 1st of July. And we'll be talking about the games from Thursday and Friday then. And then discussing how we're going to be able to survive the next 30-week break this summer before LCS returns. See y'all then.